Candle is this Sunday, July 2nd, and you'll have a hard stop at 11 p.m. each night to fire it off. On the 4th, you'll have till midnight, but beyond that, the 5th is the hard deadline for setting off your fireworks this year. That's according to guidelines from Utah's Department of Public Safety, who are warning Utah residents to do everything they can to prevent injuries and brush fires. Some key pieces of advice are to obey your local laws, check your local municipality's websites about areas that you can and can't fire off those fireworks, and do not mix alcohol and fireworks this year. Have a designated person light your fireworks. We'll have more on these rules coming later this morning, but for now, reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
The Highway Patrol is going to make a major push this weekend to keep speeding down and drunk drivers off the road. KSL News Radio's Hugo Rickard-Bell joins us live this morning and continues our team coverage. Hugo?
Tim, Amanda, in just a few hours starting at 7 a.m. this morning, you will be seeing a lot more Highway Patrol vehicles on Utah roads. This is part of their enforcement blitz to reduce risky driving. A recent study has shown that the number of DUI arrests has increased from last year by over 300, and we're only halfway through the year. This holiday is part of the state's 100 deadliest days, and traffic safety resource prosecutor Tyson Ski told KSL TV the financial repercussions of getting a DUI is up around $10,000. So be safe on our roads and enjoy the holiday. Reporting live, Hugo Rickard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
There will be fireworks in Provo at midnight tonight on the BYU campus. It's part of multiple celebrations taking place as BYU officially becomes a member of the Big 12 Conference. At 8:45, we'll talk with our BYU insider Mitch Harper, who will break down this weekend's festivities.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The Supreme Court has a few more major decisions to announce today before the court heads out on its summer break. We get a preview this morning from America in the Morning's Lisa Dwyer.
The Supreme Court is expected to announce more major decisions on the court's final day before the justices go on summer break. On student loans, the justices have yet to decide the fate of President Joe Biden's plan to wipe away or reduce student loans. When the court heard arguments in the case in February, the plan did not seem likely to survive, though it's possible the justices could decide the challengers lack the right to sue and the plan could still go forward. On gay rights, that case involves a Christian graphic artist from Colorado who wants to begin designing wedding websites, but objects to making wedding websites for same-sex couples. The justices have already released important decisions this week on other issues, including affirmative action, voting rights, and religious rights.
The ballot in the race to replace Congressman Chris Stewart will likely have at least 4 women on it. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts has more.
And those 4 women are from 3 different political parties. The Republicans will likely have 2, Celeste Malloy and Becky Edwards.
You know, I'd love to say that didn't matter, but in 2023, that's a statement.
Edwards just submitted her 7,000 signatures yesterday, though they still need to be certified.
It means that women are seeing that their voices matter, that they're engaging politically, and that people are supporting them, not just because they're a woman, but because they have a strong vision for the future of this state.
The Democrats nominated Kathleen Reeby, and the United Utah Party has put forward January Walker. Only 4 Utah women have ever served in Congress since Utah's statehood. Lindsay Aerts, KSL News Radio.
The first law enforcement officer on the scene at the 2018 Florida school shooting who took cover instead of taking action was acquitted Thursday on all charges.
More than 5 years after the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, a not guilty verdict for the school's resource officer who stayed outside, failing to confront the gunman.
We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty.
Former Sheriff's Deputy Scott Peterson sobbing as the jury acquitted him on all 11 counts, including child neglect, culpable negligence, and perjury for the deaths and injuries of 10 people on the 3rd floor, which occurred while Peterson stood outside.
ABC's Victor Akendo reporting from Fort Lauderdale.
First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
We started off with a couple of issues on the freeways. Those have cleared up for now. I-15 looking good into and out of Salt Lake City. But we've got some lane restrictions, it looks like, over on 700 East near I-80. It's been affecting the east and westbound off-ramps of I-80 to 700 East. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
The World Health Organization plans to list the artificial sweetener aspartame as a cancer risk But does that mean people should ditch their Diet Cokes? KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Don't panic yet. The research published by Reuters shows you'd have to drink at least 36 cans of diet soda a day to even be at risk. That's 432 ounces. Registered dietitian nutritionist with the Huntsman Cancer Center, Emily Pribe, says if you have your usual daily soda, you'll be fine.
Most of my recommendations when it comes to nutrition is always going to come down to moderation is kind of the best thing we can do.
So unless you're drinking those 36 cans, you'll most likely be unaffected. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
NBA free agency begins this afternoon, and Utah Jazz fans are curious to see if the team will be making any significant moves. We get a preview from KSL Sports anchor Sam Farnsworth.
Multiple reports are out saying that Jordan Clarkson has decided to exercise his option to stay with the Jazz. So what does that really mean? Well, Clarkson will be paid $14.2 million this season if his contract stays how it currently is, because the Jazz could choose to extend this contract to keep him around for a while, or they could sign him to that extension and then trade him in a sign and trade. The Jazz also guaranteed Kelly Olynyk's contract for the upcoming season, which means Kelly O will be paid $12.2 million this season. That also means that as of now, the Jazz are well above the roster limit of 15. So more moves are coming.
The Jazz have 18 players currently under contract.
How much will a star-spangled July 4th shindig set you back? Here's ABC's Daria Albinger.
Be prepared to part with more green to celebrate the red, white, and blue this year. The National Retail Federation says Americans are expected to spend $9.5 billion on July 4th events, up from $7.7 billion last year. Most will go to food, drinks, and everything else needed to host barbecues. Inflation is causing many food prices to rise, especially meat. That's followed by parades and travel expenses. And in case you're wondering, 1 in 3 Americans will buy a flag or some other patriotic item. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
And coming up, I-15 through the valley looks solid as the Friday drive begins. Happy Friday, everybody. We'll check traffic and weather coming up next.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Playing KSL News Radio.
New trouble for Amazon. Everything near the parks is turned into an Airbnb. In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug.
Ew, a bug, get it.
But the chances of actually hitting it
over there
are statistically,
it's still alive,
unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and geraniol, and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Our first triple digits of the year coming up likely by 4th of July, and it happens right at a time when everybody's going to be out lighting fireworks. Yeah. So there's some concerns going into the weekend that we'll continue to focus on this morning as we talk about fireworks safety. KSL News Time is 5:09. Time for a look at traffic and weather together, which we'll do every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Good morning, Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, thanks. Good morning. We start off in good shape this morning on I-15. No delays in your drive from Draper to downtown, less than 18 minutes. I'm seeing some heavy traffic on Bangerter already at 3500 South, but for the most part, city streets are pretty quiet, except for in Salt Lake City where we've got some lane restrictions coming off I-80, 700 East. It's actually on 700 East as well that we have some lane restrictions. So it's not a big delay because there's just not a lot of traffic this early in the morning. Heather?
No delays up north through Weber and Davis counties, but we do have a crash on US 89. This is northbound at Oak Hills Drive. The vehicles are in the Gore area of the exit to Oak Hills Drive, and there's, again, not a lot of traffic to cause any type of delay in that area. Southbound I-15, you're going to be 30 minutes or less between Ogden and Salt Lake. Eric?
And we got southbound lane restrictions on 700 East at I-80, trying to get through that area on 700 East is one matter. Exiting eastbound I-80 to go southbound onto 700 East, that's another lane restriction there. So just be aware of that if you're in the area. I-15 Utah County, no problems northbound or southbound. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We close out the month of June today at 88 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows, low to mid-60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow, how about a high of 93, mostly sunny, high pressure still building. We'll go 97 on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It is not bad out there right now, 63 degrees in Salt Lake.
I am stoked to see Indiana Jones tonight.
Me too. Just listening to some of the reviews coming in and hearing the music gets you ready.
I saw the trailer and I thought, even if it's only as good as the trailer, I want to go see it because the trailer was so awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Andy Farnsworth about the movie. He saw it already. That's coming up next on KSL.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM at 1160 AM. And thanks again for waking up with us as we try to help you get to the weekend on KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky if we could get one video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, and internet that can power a house full of devices with ultra-low lag. So one person streams a movie from their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through September 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with unlimited internet data and Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone are counting down to the kickoff of college football with a huge giveaway. This summer, you could win a new travel trailer from Bish's RV. Family owned for 30 years. Bish's RV has always helped RVers go play. And you'll win a pair of BYU season tickets as the Cougars prepare to take on the Big 12. Enter now. Text the word football to 57500 or visit KSLSports.com/contests.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air, in a public place, in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using STEM mosquito repellent is the right way. STEM effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
I think the biggest thing we all have to reject is the status quo. We have to reject the kind of politics that have been served up to us and that we've bought into. The biggest question for all of us is, what are we afraid of? And often what we're afraid of is losing power. Politicians often tell us, you can vote for whoever you want, but if you vote for someone other than me, you'll lose power, you'll lose influence. And we have to reject that. Our voting right is our most sacred and fundamental right. Vote for the best person, even if they're not in either political party. Some will try to convince you that's throwing your vote away and the evil, awful other side is going to win because of that. That's what they want you to believe. Because if you're functioning out of a position of fear, we all lose. You'll vote for the status quo, and that keeps the status quo in power.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Sunday marks the opening of a 3-day fireworks season in Utah, and the State's Department of Public Safety wants Utahns to celebrate with caution. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, NBA free agency begins this afternoon, and the Utah Jazz will need to make some moves to cut down their roster.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
So far, so good on the freeway corridor, whether you're on I-15 so far or on I-80. A minor crash on Highway 89 at Oak Hills Drive in Davis County, and some lane restrictions on the 700 East exit ramp off of I-80 in Salt Lake City, as well as on 700 East under the freeway. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy your last day of the 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 63 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Derek Dennis. The Supreme Court set to release another round of major opinions after its bombshell decision yesterday, striking down affirmative action in college admissions. On tap today, student loan forgiveness.
President Biden's plan would cancel student loan debt for more than 40 million Americans at a cost of about $400 billion. Most borrowers would have $10,000 forgiven, but Pell Grant recipients could get up to $20,000 of debt canceled. Biden's plan has been put on ice for months after some states sued, saying the administration doesn't have the authority to do this without congressional approval. Borrowers have been able to stop making payments on their federal loans, but they have to start paying up again in October. Lindsay Watts, ABC News, Washington.
Also today, embattled New York Congressman George Santos heads to court, facing a 13-count indictment for fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. He's pleaded not guilty, but has admitted in the past to lying about his resume and personal story. Canadian wildfire smoke clogging the air in 23 states again today.
Major city skylines disappearing into a shroud of smoke from those unending Canadian wildfires. Columbus, Ohio, recording its worst air reading ever, 244 on that scale of 1 to 500. Detroit and Washington, D.C. taking the top spots for the worst air quality in the world. Officials in D.C. and Philadelphia issuing a code red.
The entire state of New York is under hazardous conditions with respect to our air quality.
New York's governor announcing a plan to send text alerts to residents' phones when air quality is dangerous.
ABC's Alex Perez. In France, President Emmanuel Macron addressing his nation this hour after another night of violent clashes between protesters and police in the streets. Demonstrators angry over the killing of a teenager by police on Tuesday. Some 600 arrests and more than 200 officers injured so far in the unrest. You're listening to ABC News.
That ought to get you going right there.
It
does. John Williams, love it. Indiana Jones fans will get to see Harrison Ford take on the role one more time.
Joining us live is the host of the KSL Fan Effect podcast and soon to be host of the movie show starting next week, Andy Farnsworth. Andy, did you see the movie?
I did. I actually saw it a couple of weeks ago, so I've been kind of marinating on it for a little bit to try to, you know, it's the end of it. 42 years now. Yeah, if you can believe that. Raiders of the Lost Ark came out 42 years ago, and here we still have one more chapter with Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. And I got to say, be excited. You know, the trailers got me really optimistic, cautiously optimistic, because, you know, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's not generally universally loved between a lot of Indiana Jones fans. So people are kind of cautious going into this one, but they'll get a really fun, exciting adventure. The first 25 minutes of the movie, you get a digitally de-aged version of Harrison Ford back to, you know, a younger look as there's a big scene on a train that's just, it is the epitome of Indiana Jones. And then the rest of it takes place in 1969. By the way, I looked it up. Indiana Jones's official birthday is July 1st, 1899. So this takes place when he's about 70 years old. And what I thought was really cool is James Mangold, the director, he also one of the things he said he didn't like about Crystal Skull was that they didn't act like Indiana Jones had aged at all. And so in this one, he wanted to make sure that's part of the reason we get the big scene on the train, is so we get to see Indy doing all the heavy action as a younger guy. But then as he gets older, the stuff that he does is age appropriate. And then we bring in Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I don't know. She's somebody that is kind of an up and coming actress in Hollywood and writer. And I don't want to give away too much because people want to be surprised and enjoy the movie. And I certainly don't want to take that away from them, but she comes in and they have to work together to race Mads Mikkelsen for the Dial of Destiny of the title, which it allows the user to alter the past if they're able to assemble the two pieces. And so that's what you've got going on. The trailer doesn't give away too much. There's plenty of action and fun and dialogue that goes through this. And I think, it's tough because expectations often affect how you view a movie. So I don't want to raise anybody's expectations too high because I just want them to go in and experience it for themselves.
I'm going to love it no matter what.
And I think so. That's true. When I got to go with my 3 siblings, and it was the first time that the 4 of us had seen a movie together for the first time in probably 20 years.
Cool.
And it was, so I also kind of have that good feeling going for it. But I mean, you're going to go today, tomorrow, you're going to see people there in Indy hats. You're going to see, it's just going to be like John Rhys Davies was at the Megaplex last night with us. He's back as Sala, Indy's friend. It's just, go enjoy it. You're going to have a blast.
All right. Don't talk us out of it.
Yeah, we'll do it
Not
for
that
sure.
you could.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
no. And to be fair, it's not the best Indiana Jones movie, but it's also not the worst. It's just good. It's fun. And it's the closing chapter. Harrison Ford says this is the last time he's going to play him. So just go enjoy it.
Yeah, at 80 years old, I think he should step away for his own safety. Anyway, all right, we'll learn more about it. And, of course, ABC had a review this morning that was glowing as well. Andy, thank you.
Put your other hat on now, Andy, because it's time for Traffic and Weather Together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. Back to you.
Right now, if you're traveling through the valley early on this Friday morning, you've got light traffic through the valley on I-15 so far through Tooele County. It's kind of the beginning of a holiday weekend, which makes Friday mornings going into a holiday weekend usually are even lighter than usual. At least that's what it's looking like here in the 5 o'clock hour. Heather?
Pretty much the same up north. Not as much traffic as we normally see, even for this time of the morning. You've got good speeds on I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway, both directions, no matter where you're going, and city streets are quiet as well. Eric?
I-15 Utah County cruising right along from Provo to Point of the Mountain. That's a 20-minute drive. If you're on I-80 out into the mountains, we've got some slow movement up over the top of Parley Summit in both directions, probably heavy semis. If you're on I-80 eastbound and trying to exit at 700 East, be aware that you can't turn to go south on 700 East, and that's also the same restrictions are affecting folks that are just on 700 East and going by I-80 and continuing south. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast. July comes in with the heat. We'll go 88 today for your last day of June, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, 93, mostly sunny. High pressure moves in overhead on Sunday. 97 degrees, mostly sunny skies. We'll then go partly cloudy on Monday, 100 degrees the high. 97 for the 4th of July, partly cloudy skies. We back it off to the mid-90s as we work into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Fair skies to start the day, 63 degrees in your 7-day forecast, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We got a text saying Happy Friday just a few minutes ago.
Thank you.
I love that. You can Happy Friday us anytime you like. It contributes to the overall mood of partying going on here.
You could even do that on a Monday. We'd appreciate
sure.
a Happy Friday on a Monday, too.
Absolutely. Anybody out there going to see Indiana Jones this weekend? I'll see you tonight. I will be there at the theater with my family. Our Cypress Credit Union KSL text line, if you're so inclined, and it's safe for you to do so, is 57500.
Money's off to a good start this morning. The futures. We'll tell you about that with the rest of your money news next on KSL.
Picture this. A warm summer evening, the sun setting behind the mountains, blankets being laid out on the cool grass, and world-class music. It's the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival, and you're invited to escape into the music with 12 concerts at Snowpark Amphitheater featuring country pop sensation LeAnn Rimes, the movie music of John Williams, alt-rocker Ben Folds, and the Beach Boys. Let the summer festivities begin at the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival, kicking off with a salute to the USA. Start your Independence Day weekend celebrations with a concert under the stars, featuring Gershwin's wildly popular piano concerto Rhapsody in Blue, movie music by John Williams, and so many more American classics. Patriotic Pops opens the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival. Be there Friday, June 30th in Park City. Tickets are on sale now at deervalleymusicfestival.org.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances. Your moments, your milestones, your love story, all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion or an invitation. You and your life are the event. At Shane Company, we handcraft our jewelry with the greatest care and hand select the most beautiful gemstones so you can shine. So put on a pair of earrings that make your eyes sparkle. Wear diamonds that light up the room. Try on sapphires in every color of the rainbow. Give an heirloom that collects new stories with each generation. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A handbag, I saw a picture of this morning, has been designed that can pass through the eye of a needle. It is viewable only through a microscope.
Don't tell me.
Otherwise, it looks like a little yellow dot.
But what do you do with this thing?
The handbag is smaller than a grain of salt, Tim. But guess what it costs?
I'm afraid to find out.
$63,000 at auction.
And you can put nothing in it.
Absolutely nothing.
What's the point?
Collectors are just, they're a different breed.
I may have found the one handbag my wife would not be interested in. A bottle of sriracha used to cost under $10. Now, thanks to a shortage of red jalapeno peppers, a single 28-ounce bottle of the hot sauce being sold on eBay for $70.
If you've been on the internet at all, you know that Taylor Swift is on tour. It's predicted it'll be the biggest tour in history. She's going to make over $1 billion on this tour. $1 billion. The record is currently held by Elton John's Yellow Brick Road Tour, which was $800 million.
Yeah, first $1 billion tour ever. Dow Jones Industrials are up almost 100 points. The S&P's also in the green this morning by 16.25 after an increase yesterday. The Nasdaq is also up 71.
Lane restrictions on 7th East exiting from I-80 this morning. We'll get details on that just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Summer celebrations are almost here.
You can light off your own fireworks until 11 p.m. on the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, midnight on the 4th.
And the fireworks stands are open.
Even if it's green, it can still burn.
Don't burn down Utah. And come here for updates on safety and restrictions. KSL News Radio, your summertime fun companion for news.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I want to share with you the experience of Donna in Washington. She writes, I got injured about 5 years ago. I was let go when, because of the injury, I couldn't keep up with my schedule. I've tried to find other work, but I'm 68 now. No one wants to hire someone that old. This week is tough, though, because I had to get my tooth fixed. So I only have $10 in my checking account. But it will be okay. I at least have food because of this pantry. Millions of people face hunger. Some every day, just like Donna. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
KSL News Time, 529. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Back to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, right now looking good. I-15, Draper to downtown, seeing the speed limit on I-80 out of Tooele County between Lake Point and I-215's west side. And even though we had some heavy traffic building along Bangerter in West Valley a few minutes ago, it's cleared now, and you're good all the way from South Jordan up to the airport. Heather?
Still no problems up north through Weber and Davis counties. We did have a crash on US 89 right near Oak Hills Drive. Looks like that's in the final cleanup stages. You have good speeds on I-15, Legacy Parkway in the West Side Belt if you need to get to the airport. Eric.
And we're looking good through the mountains for the most part on I-8. We do have some slow movement, probably just semis going westbound up over the top of Harley Summit. And if you're on I-80 eastbound trying to exit at 700 East, you've got lane restrictions. You won't be able to go south on 700 East. And of course, that also affects folks that are just using 700 East going underneath the freeway. I-15 in Utah County, northbound, southbound, looking good this morning from Provo to Lehigh. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
There is no rain in the 7-day forecast. Haven't been able to say that for a while. Today's high will be 88 degrees. We'll get to 100 by Monday, and right now it's 61 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
We're getting the year's first brush with three-digit days this week, or three-digit temperatures this week, and it could be a sign of more 100-degree days to come.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston joins us live with more. Peter?
Amanda, June weather has hovered in the 70s and 80s so far, and KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says a small heat wave is on the way.
High pressure over the west. 90s, even some triple digits sprinkled on in, and it's just in time for the 4th of July weekend.
Well, that's good news for slip and slides and backyard barbecues. Johnson warns we haven't had the usual gradual warm-up that we've seen in other years.
But we're not acclimated to this type of heat just yet. Typically by this time of year, we've already seen something this hot. But this is our first stretch of hot weather, so just be mindful of it.
Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Hot weather arrives this weekend, and there's a renewed push for people to be safe if they're heading out on a boat. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson explains.
A new report by Captain Experiences looking at boating accidents and fatalities found the Beehive State near the top. An accident rate of 105.9 per 100,000 vessels, nearly 3 times the national average, puts Utah number 1 nationally. Between 2018 and 2022, Utah experienced an average of 12.7 boating-related deaths per 100,000 boats. That's the 5th highest in the nation. Total property damage from vessels involved in accidents in Utah between 2018 and 2022, $3,056,861. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The landmark ruling by the Supreme Court effectively ending affirmative action could have consequences far beyond higher education. ABC's Justin Finch has more from Washington.
9 states already prohibit any consideration of race in admissions to their public colleges and universities. The end of affirmative action in higher education in California, Michigan, Washington State, and elsewhere led to a steep drop in minority enrollment at leading public universities. Now, the decision could send a ripple effect for hiring practices at corporations. The executive director of a right-wing advocacy group saying the decision will put the wind in the sails of the groups like ours who want to get the woke, racially based hiring and promotion schemes out of corporate America.
Utah Senators Mitt Romney and Mike Lee have thrown their support behind the Supreme Court's affirmative action decision. KSL News Radio's Hugo Rickard-Bell joins us live and continues our team coverage. Hugo?
Tim, the 2 Utah senators took to Twitter to voice their support for the Supreme Court decision. Mitt Romney saying, preference for one is prejudice for another. He was backed up by Mike Lee, who said he applauds the Supreme Court for upholding the 14th Amendment principle of equality protection. The policies have been long used to raise the number of Black, Hispanic, and other underrepresented minority students on American campuses. President Joe Biden, though, is strongly against the decision, urging colleges to consider challenges applicants face based on race. Reporting live, Hugo Rickard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
Hot weather arrives this weekend, and there's a renewed push for people to be safe if they're heading out on a boat. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson explains.
A new report by Captain Experiences looking at boating accidents and fatalities found the Beehive State near the top. An accident rate of 105.9 per 100,000 vessels, nearly 3 times the national average, puts Utah number 1 nationally. Between 2018 and 2022, Utah experienced an average of 12.7 boating-related deaths per 100,000 boats. That's the 5th highest in the nation. Total property damage from vessels involved in accidents in Utah between 2018 and 2022, $3,056,861. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. Let's check back in with Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, we haven't had any big problems yet this morning on the freeways. That's good news. Light traffic for most drivers on city streets up to this point. I don't see the lane restrictions on I-80 at 7th East on the exit ramps and on 7th East under the freeway causing any significant slowdowns at this point of the morning, and it's looking pretty good as well. SR 36, Highway 89 even managed to do pretty well, even with a crash up near Oak Hills Drive earlier. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
One of Zion National Park's most famous hikes has reopened, but authorities are urging hikers to be extremely careful. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
Runoff has kept the Narrows closed since April. The hike is now open, but monsoons later in the summer may close the hike again. Open Snow meteorologist Alan Smith is confident that monsoon season won't be arriving until late July, but hikers need to be prepared and remember that the water levels get deeper the farther upstream you go. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
The airline industry hopes the number of flight delays and cancellations should be going down as we head into the weekend, but so far, it's been a rough week.
With more than 600 flights canceled Thursday alone and more than 7,000 canceled since Saturday, passengers are on edge with bags piling up at airports, some people stranded for days. And the TSA says today will be its busiest of the holiday weekend.
ABC's Morgan Norwood says some of the severe weather back east caused those problems is going away.
A Southwest Airlines plane has damage after hitting a bird while landing in Burbank, California on Thursday. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
On the ground at the Burbank airport, the damage clearly visible. A big dent in the nose cone of the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737. The Burbank airport says a plane was on final approach when it hit a bird. The plane landed safely, but that nose cone will have to be replaced, which is a fairly easy fix. It's unclear if there was any other damage. Alex Stone, ABC News.
He's the world's most frequent flyer. Tom Stuker has flown more than 23 million miles, and he says he's not done flying just yet.
I think I'll probably hit 24 by the end of the year. Pretty close to my 70th birthday.
Wow. Stuker says he first bought a lifetime pass for United Airlines in 1990. And in 2019 alone, he took 373 flights, totaling 1.46 million miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does he fly for work?
He must to take that many. 373 flights? Goodness,
Wow.
that's more than one a day.
That's crazy. We have a quiet Friday morning so far. Not enough traffic out there to cause any delays. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear Dave and Dejanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Crashes every single day because of road rage.
A concern for Utah drivers.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
Can an insurance bot ever really understand your needs?
Do you think I'd benefit from bundling my auto and home coverage?
Searching for homes with car dealerships nearby.
Sure, robots listen, but do they understand you? At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you save money and time by bundling your auto and home insurance. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
At Your Service Pros Heating and Air recently received the following review on Yelp. I'm so glad I got a second opinion from At Your Service Pros. They identified the same items of work to be done, but gave me a much more realistic quote. I'll definitely use them again. Thanks, Seth. We're glad we were able to do the repairs for less than half of what the other company quoted him. There's a reason we're one of the highest rated companies on both Google and Yelp. If you want a free second opinion on your HVAC repairs, give us a call at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO.
If you're just joining us this morning, we're keeping an eye on our first triple-digit temperatures and the effects that may have on a 4th of July holiday and fireworks, which has fire officials a little concerned. Coverage of that, team coverage this morning on KSL.
5:39 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, nice driving conditions this morning as we get started before the sun comes up. Still got the full speed limit Draper to downtown, so it's less than 20 minutes of travel time. It's been pretty nice on the 201 freeway. No wait times even at the intersections through Magna. Going north on Mountain View and Bangerter, you're also delay-free from the south end of the valley up to the 21st South Freeway. Heather?
We've got a few more cars entering I-15 southbound between Ogden and Salt Lake. Still not enough to slow anybody down. It's been a very nice drive with no accidents reported on city streets or major freeways. You're also going to have a very nice drive if you are on I-84 going through the mountains to and from Morgan. Eric?
Little bit of a hassle on 700 East this morning if you're southbound trying to go underneath I-80. The right lanes are closed there and doesn't appear to be affecting northbound 700 East. But if you're exiting eastbound from I-80 trying to go on to 700 East southbound, that it is affecting traffic there. I-15 Utah County northbound southbound looking good. UDOT traffic alert. Plan ahead for delays this July 4th weekend on Utah highways, especially I-15 in Salt Lake, Davis, and Juab counties. Allow extra time and avoid travel during the Friday evening commute. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy it today because it's your last one in the 80s. We'll go 88 degrees this afternoon, mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows, low to mid 60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow, 93, mostly sunny. Then we push it to the upper 90s on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
There's definitely some cooler air out there this morning. Park City's only 48, and in Salt Lake, we're down to 61 degrees.
What did I see yesterday? That Melinda Gates is donating $1 billion to help get women elected.
Yeah.
Wow. We're going to talk politics coming up next on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. It's Tim and Amanda here to help you get to the weekend on your all-day companion for news.
As I look at my path to the NFL, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. Having a supporting cast for me made all the difference, both on and off the field. And the thing I realized this last year was having that supporting cast made my dreams and my goals a reality. I prepare as best as I can for every situation on the football field. You know, that same mindset applies to me as a husband, as a dad. And being a new father with an 8-month-old child, I've realized that, you know, I now have a responsibility to my son and to my wife, just like I do my teammates. I spend all my time being a quarterback, and I need to find people that I can trust and rely upon. Deseret First Credit Union, they are those people that are spending all that time to help me manage and take care of my family. My name is Taysom Hill, and my why is faith, family, and football.
At Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital, we made a bold promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Join us in realizing our vision for the future of pediatric care. So together, we can expand primary children's impact and ensure every child has access to the right care at the right place at the right time. For a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Help us continue to do so for the next 100 years. To get involved, visit primarypromise.org.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Dave and Debbie.
One of my favorite things about Debbie is when we're in the middle of an interview, a light flips on and there's something that she picked out. I call it her spidey sense. And then she just tenaciously goes after that line of questioning. If someone tries to spin it, she's respectful, but she's firm. And she won't let you go with just that easy, trite answer. She's going to get down to the bottom of it. and I love it.
I've always been impressed with Dave's ability to go back in his memory bank and drag out factual details from previous interviews, weeks, months, even years ago. It is phenomenal to watch that happen because it adds so much context to our coverage in the moment. Dave's got it all right up here in his brain, and that's impressive.
This is a thing that Debbie does not do well. On-the-fly math.
I agree. So one thing I agree with him on.
Listen for Dave and Dejanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 5:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
both Senator Mitt Romney and Mike Lee have come out in support of the Supreme Court's decision to strike down race-conscious admission programs in colleges. I'm KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell.
Second, Utah ranks as one of the states with the most boating accidents per person in the U.S.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Still delay-free on I-15, whether you're starting out in Ogden and heading south, or if you're starting in Provo and heading north, everywhere in between at the full speed limit right now. Some lane restrictions affecting traffic on 7th East, coming off I-80, especially for eastbound traffic, but it's not a huge backup. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny and 88 today, then the heater turns on. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 62 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
The air in 23 states clogged and hazy again today due to Canadian wildfire smoke. Chicago and Detroit seeing high air quality index readings. Columbus, Ohio, recording its worst air reading ever. The entire state of Pennsylvania under a code red.
I lived here for 20 years, and no. I even asked somebody at Rite Aid who she lived in California, and she's not seen anything like this here. In California, yes, but here, no.
One resident there saying it's remarkable. The sky's also a concern due to air travel. Today expected to be one of the busiest travel days of the year ahead of the 4th of July holiday, but more cancellations and delays are expected after a ripple effect of flight issues this week. 7,000 flights canceled since last Saturday. The Supreme Court set to release another round of major opinions after its bombshell decision yesterday, striking down affirmative action in college admissions. On tap today, rulings on student loan forgiveness and LGBTQ rights. I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
And we're expecting that those announcements, those decisions will be handed down in our 8 o'clock hour, and we'll be following it today. Joining us live, ABC News Political Director Rick Klein.
Rick, I want to start with the Supreme Court decision that has to do with politics, since we talk politics with you. And this one is the one that says that state legislatures don't have total control over federal elections. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, it's kind of a wild idea, but it was tested in the wake of the 2020 election, and it was tested in this case on redistricting that came before the court that said, no matter what a state court says or any other court says, the state legislature is the final arbiter of an election and the impact of an election. 2020, Trump wanted to overturn the election in a bunch of states and have those legislatures just name electors on their own. It was rejected, but not fully by the Supreme Court. The court went a lot further in this case to say that's not how it works, that's not how it can work. And I think it takes away one of the arrows from the quiver of election challenges going forward. It doesn't end it entirely, but this idea of the independent state legislature has some severe limits according to the court.
After the president had his statement yesterday, he had a little parting shot as he was headed out because he had a question thrown at him, and he said, this is not a normal court. How do you think this plays into the election coming up?
Well, I think the court's going to be an issue, and elections having consequences is more than a talking point. It's a reality. And I think in this case, what you're hearing from the president is some frustration about the direction of the court. Clearly, he's not happy that it's now a 6-3 majority. 3 of those picks were installed by former President Trump, and it's meant overruling the longstanding law on affirmative action, and now after abortion rights stood the same way, maybe it might mean the end of his student loan forgiveness plan as well. So this is a source of real frustration on the left. We're not hearing from the president anything nearly as far in terms of potential solutions as some of the party want, but it's going to be an issue and a big one, and I think it's going to be one that motivates the left more than the right this time around.
Rick, may I ask you about what we saw yesterday from Melinda Gates, who said she's donating $1 billion to elect women to office? Is that women in both parties? Do you happen to know, or what should we know about that?
I don't know the details of what she's putting forward. I would imagine, in keeping with the charity work that she's done in the past, that it's much more likely to be women in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, but I'm sorry to say I don't know the details.
All right, one more question for you, and that is, we talk a lot about where voters are going into this election when it comes to Donald Trump, but it's really about where the money goes on the Republican side, and it looks like the Koch brothers have already weighed in here.
Yeah, it's $70 million that they've committed so far to getting a Republican nominated who is not named Donald Trump. Now, maybe it's a fool's errand. Maybe they're not able to do it. Maybe these wars with the money community don't matter. But it is striking to see this judgment, not just from the Koch network, but also the donors that support it, the people that support their causes, to say we don't want to throw more money down the drain on what could be a losing cause, and is importantly for many of them, a losing cause ideologically. They don't trust Donald Trump as a true conservative all the way. That is animating at least some of this decision, and I think we'll have to see how it works its way through, if it's able to be successful. But there's a lot of skepticism out there around whether Trump is the right call for the Republican Party. It isn't reflected right now in polling, but we'll see what happens when you've got groups that are dumping a lot of money into making this argument, saying, look, this is not someone that should represent the future of the Republican Party.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you for that. Rick, have a great weekend. ABC News political director Rick Klein with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
5:49 means traffic and weather together again, and it's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy, what do those roads look like?
Well, they're looking really good as we get started. Friday morning, light traffic, yes. Holiday weekend, even lighter traffic. It kind of seems to be that way so far. No slow spots on I-15 or I-80 through the Salt Lake Valley. You get a little bit heavy westbound traffic on I-80 as you go out towards Saltaire, that you'll run into a pocket of that. Actually, you probably won't run into it unless you're already in it as it's moving west towards Tooele County. No SR-36 delays so far, Tooele City to Lake Point. Heather?
No delays getting into Hill Air Force Base today at any of the gates, and you've got smooth sailing if you're on a freeway. That includes I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway. I-84 through the mountains would be a really nice drive right now, especially to and from Morgan, and city streets are quiet. Eric.
In Utah County, I-15 rolling right along Santaquin to Point of the Mountain northbound. That's a 30-minute drive if you're going to do the whole county. And if you're over into the mountains, I-80 looks pretty good going through Parley's Canyon. If you're eastbound to I-80 and trying to exit to go south on 700 East, you've got lane restrictions there. So take another exit. Enjoy low-maintenance, single-level luxury living planned community. Access to golf, pickleball, and open trails. Nilson Homes in Davis-Weber County. Visit nilsonhomes.com. nilsonhomes.com. Eric Futherham, KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Upper 80s today. We stay below normal, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, just some high clouds possible, 93. 97 on Sunday, mostly sunny. Partly cloudy skies, and our first triple digit of the season potentially on Monday. Tuesday, 4th of July, 97, partly cloudy, could be breezy by afternoon. Wednesday, mostly sunny, 94. We keep it in the mid-90s for next Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 62 downtown. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We're going to hear from Mitch Harper coming up here in a minute, but we want to remind you about the big party that's coming tomorrow. It's the first official day that the Cougars are a member of the Big 12, and they're going to be celebrating in a big way down in Utah County. They're inviting families to come down to the practice facility in Provo from 3 to 6 with some kid-friendly activities. They're going to have food and a lot of other activities going on.
And the Cougar Sports Saturday walk-up to that at 3 o'clock event is sponsored by Warehouse B in Linden.
So be listening tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun with Mitch and Matt. But we'll get into that countdown coming up here in just a minute.
Embrace the magic of summer nights and create lasting memories in your own swim spa from Bullfrog Spas. Our swim series lets you enjoy year-round fitness, fun with the family, and unmatched relaxation in the only swim spa with a patented jetpack therapy system. And during our endless summer sale, you'll save big with up to $5,000 off MSRP. Plus, get affordable 48-month special financing. Visit your nearby Bullfrog Spas factory store to take advantage of the endless summer sale.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home. Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Watching Utah's Money this morning is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A California man has developed a new telemarketer call deflation system. It's called Jolly Roger. For $25 a year, customers can choose an AI personality to frustrate and waste the time of telemarketers and scammers.
Aaron my husband has something like that on his phone. So if you call his number, it'll play any one of a number of frustrating recordings. I don't think it's exactly like you talked about.
That's pretty funny.
It is. Yeah, he hates telemarketing. A Texas-based oil company was fined over $40 million based on accusations of burning off huge amounts of natural gas. According to regulators, the amount that was burned could have heated 17,000 homes for a year.
Have you ever had trouble leaving a job? A Japanese company has been founded that helps people quit their jobs less awkwardly. This service is called, and I hope I get this right, Taishoku Daiko. Daiko, or job leaving agents.
Yeah, I can see where that'd be something you'd need in Japan because they're so,
loyal.
Work is everything.
Yeah.
And to admit that you want to leave a job before you absolutely had to.
I want to know the details of what they do when you hire the service.
They meet with your boss? I don't know.
And they do the negotiating to get you out the door? That's
amazing.
Interesting.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow futures are up 88. That's 0.25%. S&P futures up 15. That's 0.3%. The Nasdaq futures up 69, which is 0.5%.
It's the 100-day countdown to Cougar football, and it's brought to you by Bish's RV. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper.
There are still 2 months until the BYU football team kicks off the 2023 season. But tomorrow, fans can officially say BYU is in the Big 12 Conference. July 1st will be the first day for BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston to officially become members of the Power 5 League. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark is excited to welcome BYU in the new programs.
We have great marketing plans to celebrate the new Big 12, the 4 new schools. You'll see a lot of that also around Media Day, which is on July 12th. Again, very excited to be welcoming the 4 schools in. And they've been very much a part of what we've been doing over the last 9 or 10 months since I've been here. Like I said, they've been fully engaged. But officially, they're members in July, and we're going to celebrate it.
Make sure to tune in to Cougar Sports Saturday tomorrow, live from Warehouse B in Linden, to celebrate the big day. Countdown to Cougar football, 64 days to go. I'm Mitch Harper, KSL Sports.
Win great prizes from KSL News Radio. This week, win a pair of tickets to see the Beach Boys, July 14th at Snow Park Amphitheater. This summer, the Beach Boys return for 2 unforgettable nights, live with the Utah Symphony at the Deer Valley Music Festival. Or win a 4-pack of tickets to Lagoon. Lagoon, it's what fun is. Get started now by texting the word contest to 57500 or visit kslnewsradio.com/contests.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
5:59, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
And right now, Amanda, travel through the Salt Lake Valley looks good as you hit the gas from Point of the Mountain to downtown. You can make that whole drive in 20 minutes or less. It's a little bit heavier over on Mountain View now, coming up through West Valley around 3500 South. Bangerter doesn't look bad at all from Riverton all the way up to the airport, and out of Tooele County, I-80 all clear Lake Point to the airport. Heather?
Still through Weber and Davis counties, 30 minutes or less from Ogden to downtown Salt Lake if you stick with southbound I-15. Legacy Parkway, the west side belt are free and clear if you're using those to get to the airport. The city streets are also very quiet, although we're starting to see a few more cars fill in, especially around 31st Street in Ogden. Eric?
I-15 running at a normal pace in Utah County. It's a 20-minute drive if you head north from University Avenue in Provo all the way up to Point of the Mountain. No accidents or delays. Emergencies don't wait, and neither do the experts at Big Brothers Home Services. Available 24/7 for emergency plumbing, draining, cleaning, backups, and leaks because they do more. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
This 7-day forecast is high and dry. The last of the 80s for the next week coming today. And right now in Salt Lake City, 61 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Utah skies will soon be filled with the sound of fireworks as we head into the 4th of July weekend.
But one family that experienced a terrible accident is reminding all of us to be careful. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has the story. Peter?
Amanda, Giselle Sullivan was watching a backyard fireworks show in summer 2016 when her mom tells KSL TV that something went horribly wrong.
The explosion ricocheted one of the aerials, caused it to tip over, and then it just started firing, like misfiring in all directions.
After the firework tipped, a piece of shrapnel hit Giselle's left eye and blinded her.
I do remember crying a lot and everybody panicking.
Giselle and her family have largely moved on from the accident, but they're still urging Utahns this Independence Day weekend to take precautions and light fireworks responsibly. This Sunday marks the beginning of that fireworks season, and it extends until July 5th. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Fireworks and pets don't make a good combination. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
While you may enjoy watching and setting off fireworks, your pets, especially dogs, probably don't. Dogs especially will try to escape the sound of an explosion, often running for miles until they won't hear them. Veterinarians.org says that more dogs go missing following the 4th of July than any other holiday, so be certain to make sure your pets are indoors or wearing up-to-date identification tags. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
DUI numbers are way up compared to last year, and the Utah Highway Patrol will have an extra focus starting this morning on drunk drivers and speeders. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell continues our live team coverage of the holiday weekend. Hugo?
Amanda, a recent study has shown that the number of DUI arrests has increased from last year by over 300, and we're only halfway through the year. Tyson Ski is a traffic safety resource prosecutor. He says the dollar price of a DUI alone should be enough to deter people to get behind the wheel.
You're going to be around $10,000, probably minimum, in financial repercussions if you get arrested for a DUI.
Starting today at 7 a.m., there will be a lot more Highway Patrol vehicles on Utah roads as part of their enforcement blitz to reduce risky driving. So be safe out on our roads and enjoy the holiday. Reporting live, Hugo Ricard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
Also, just a reminder, there's going to be fireworks in Provo at midnight tonight on the BYU campus. It's part of multiple celebrations taking place, as we were talking about just before the top of the hour. BYU officially becomes a member of the Big 12 Conference tomorrow. At 8:45, we will talk live with our BYU insider Mitch Harper, who will break down this weekend's festivities.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The Supreme Court's anticipated decision on student loan forgiveness should be announced later this morning. ABC's Andy Field has more.
Federal courts have held up President Biden's student loan forgiveness since he announced it nearly a year ago. Republican-led states and conservative groups sued, saying no president has the power to broadly cancel student debt. Economists estimate it would cost taxpayers nearly $400 billion. COVID rules froze many student loans for the past 3 years. Now the Supreme Court will decide if Mr. Biden's plan is constitutional.
The Supreme Court's ruling should be released in the 8 o'clock hour, and we will break in live when that happens.
Once the ballot in the race to replace Congressman Chris Stewart takes shape, it's likely to be mostly women. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts reports at least 4 women are likely to make it.
What makes this really unique is that these 4 women are from 3 different political parties. The Republicans will likely have 2, Celeste Malloy and Becky Edwards. Edwards just submitted her 7,000 signatures, though they still need to get certified. Then the Democrats have Kathleen Reeby, and the United Utah Party put forward January Walker.
Only 4 Utah women have ever served in Congress since Utah statehood.
The former sheriff's deputy and school resource officer charged for allegedly failing to confront the Parkland school shooter in 2018 was found not guilty on all counts. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more.
Peterson sobbing, hugging his defense team as the verdict was read. Some of the family members of the victims looking on in the Fort Lauderdale courtroom, shaking their heads. Peterson was charged with 11 counts, including felony child neglect and culpable negligence. If found guilty, he was facing up to 95 years in prison. The mother of 35-year-old teacher Scott Beagle, killed during the shooting, and had this reaction to the verdict.
And I do believe he did nothing, and I think that was wrong. You know, he may not have been found legally responsible, but he is morally responsible for my son's death.
Peterson says he is open to talk to victims' families.
First look traffic, we go to Andy Farnsworth.
Tim, right now the drive has been pretty good. I haven't seen any crashes pop up yet that are affecting any speeds on I-15. City streets mostly just kind of late waking up this morning. I'm not seeing more than a little bit of heavy traffic on Bangerter in South Jordan. It's been looking pretty decent along Highway 89, the Gates to Hill Air Force Base. Not seeing any additional delays so far either. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today marks a decade since 19 wildland firefighters were overcome by flames while battling a wildfire near Yarnell, Arizona. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
These are their voices, the last radio transmissions from the Granite Mountain Hot Shots, a team of wildland firefighters from the Arizona city of Prescott. As they got into their shelters, tinfoil-like blankets used as a last resort when overrun by a wildfire.
And I'll give you a call when we are under the shelters.
The flames burned over their shelters, killing the 19 men inside. The deadliest day for firefighters since the September 11th terror attack. Today in Prescott and at fire departments around the U.S., there will be memorials to remember the Granite Mountain 19. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Only one member of that 20-man crew survived that day.
One of the primary ingredients in many diet sodas is being linked to cancer by the World Health Organization. But KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla says the research also points out that people would have to consume a lot of the ingredient before it becomes an issue.
Aspartame, an artificial sweetener commonly used in diet soda, sugar-free gum, and reduced sugar condiments, will be listed as a possible carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. But what the data doesn't consider is how much of the substance you'd have to consume to be at risk. Reuters reports an average adult would have to drink up to 36 cans of the aspartame sweetened soda a day to even be at risk.
Many companies have already moved away from using large amounts of aspartame.
You can't go south on 7th East if you're exiting from eastbound I-80, but other than that, the freeways are looking good. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Boyd Matheson helps you to think about the news differently.
What the American people are looking for out of all sides of politics is just give me a vision.
Join an elevated conversation. Inside Sources from 1 to 3. Then Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
Get up and go. Hey there, it's Julie from Logan with a personal invitation. Here it is. Get in your car and come see us. This weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show and Parade. Come to the Gardeners Market on Saturday, where you can even pet a live turkey. Okay, that's kind of weird. We're headed into the holiday weekend, so there's rodeo on Saturday, Logan's super impressive Independence Day fireworks July 3rd, and more fireworks and parades on the 4th of July in the towns of Hiram and Lewiston. Step back in time at the American West Heritage Center all summer long. It's outdoor living history in a gorgeous setting. You can hang out with a mountain man, meet pioneers, and even learn to milk a cow if you want. Wait, just wait. The Lyric Rep Theater is doing live performances of the 1950s and 60s musical revue The Marvelous Wonderettes and a lavish big band production of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night, plus other performances of The Wizard of Oz. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
With the economy the way it is, you're probably staying put. So invest in your home, your number one asset, with beautiful custom replacement windows from Advanced Window Products. They're a local Utah company building beautiful vinyl framed and insulated double pane windows for 37 years right here in Salt Lake City. Advanced Window Products will save you money on your energy bill. Get security features to keep your family safe. And at Advanced Window Products, it's all custom. And the best part? They're local. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. You save on the highest quality windows in Utah. Plus, Rocky Mountain and Dominion offer rebates. For a limited time, they offer 60-month 0% financing. And right now, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more. They're working 8 weeks out. So make the call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
We're here to get you ready for an extended 4th of July weekend. I know Monday's going to be a work day for us, but my guess is a lot of people are finding creative ways
to take off through Wednesday.
To make it a 4-day weekend. We'll continue to have team coverage of fireworks going on sale and being legally able to fire them off this weekend. KSL News Time 6:09. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s is brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy Farnsworth is back in the traffic center.
And travel, Tim, on I-15 looks great this morning, whether you're going north or south between Salt Lake and Draper Point of the Mountain. Traffic through the west side of the valley along Mountain View. I see a lot of southbound traffic, at least a lot more southbound traffic going from West Jordan down into Harriman than I'm seeing on the northbound side so far. Tooele County, traffic beginning to bunch up just a little bit in Stansbury Park as you go through those two intersections going into Lake Point. Heather?
We are seeing a few more cars on the roadway in Weber and Davis County, most of that going southbound I-15 between Ogden and Salt Lake, but nowhere near enough traffic to cause any type of slowing or delays. We're also accident-free on city streets and the major freeways, so whether you're north, south, east, or west, you're going to have a good commute. Eric?
Well, if you're down in Utah County, I-15 certainly looking just fine northbound from Payson to Point of the Mountain. That's a 28-minute drive. Along the Wasatch Back, US 40 looks good between Heber and Park City. I-80 traffic, if you're eastbound at 700 East, trying to exit there and then go south on 700 East, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be diverted. You're going to have to go up north. But don't plan on taking a U-turn because those same lanes are closed off if you're approaching them from 700 East, trying to go underneath I-80. Just lane closures this morning is going to affect your traffic. Affect your driving in that area. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, branch you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll stay below normal today with a high of 88. Mostly sunny skies. Very nice. Overnight lows, low 60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow will go mostly sunny, high of 93, then 97 as we work into Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
62 degrees in Salt Lake City.
As President Biden was leaving yesterday, a reporter asked him, "Is this a rogue court?" referring to the Supreme Court. He wouldn't go that far, but he said, "This is not a normal court." We'll hear more about what he had to say about the High Court's decision on affirmative action. And, of course, his student loan program is probably coming up today. That's just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. And thanks again for waking up with Tim and Amanda on KSL News Radio, Utah's all-day companion for news.
I'm excited to stop by and see Doug Wright today on his final movie show. He's going to be at NPS in Salt Lake City, which I do my grocery shopping on Fridays anyway. When I think of NPS, I think of a place that helps me save money in a they've had a profound effect on my budget because everything every day is 30 to 70% off.
We're in the middle of summer, but pretty soon we're going to be talking, believe it or not, back to school sales. And on top of that 30 to 70% of a lot of these clothing for children right now are marked at 70% off those already low prices. So maybe you want to start your back-to-school shopping at NPS now.
Oh, I would, because they have racks and racks and racks of clothes for you, for your kids. I mean, I bought a coat there. I bought a purse there. And all of these things, these beautiful things, are 30 to 70% off, and sometimes more, as Tim says.
And right now in the Layton and Orem store, 50% off fabric, and at the industrial store, 20% off bikes, electric bikes, and scooters.
So come see Doug and say goodbye this morning during the movie show at the Salt Lake NPS store, and of course the industrial store is there. And there's also one in Layton and one in Orem.
Embrace the magic of summer nights and create lasting memories in your own swim spa from Bullfrog Spas. Our swim series lets you enjoy year-round fitness, fun with the family, and unmatched relaxation in the only swim spa with a patented jetpack therapy system. And during our endless summer sale, you'll save big with up to $5,000 off MSRP. Plus, get affordable 48-month special financing. Visit your nearby Bullfrog Spas factory store to take advantage of the endless summer sale.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
When making important life decisions about your financial future or insurance needs, it's important to work with people you trust. That's why at Farm Bureau Financial Services, we don't rely on algorithms, bots, or auto-generated answers. We get to know you so we can help you get the right coverage and make smart financial decisions. We're the people who provide insurance and financial planning all in one place. Find a Farm Bureau agent or advisor at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it.
KSL News Time, 6:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
summer heat in the 90s and above will finally arrive in July after a cooler than normal June. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, multiple celebrations are planned in Provo this weekend as BYU becomes an official member of the Big 12 Conference.
Third, a quick look at traffic and weather together.
And so far, the freeway's holding up really well, whether you're going north or south between Ogden and Salt Lake or Draper, Provo to downtown. It's at the full speed limit. Going into Big Cottonwood Canyon, we've got alternating traffic lanes just before you get to the S-curves. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
88, mostly sunny today. Pretty nice. Then we climb the ladder to 100 degrees. I'm Matt Johnson.
62 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Derek Dennis. Air quality index levels elevated in 23 states thanks to drifting Canadian wildfire smoke. In some cities, it's downright dangerous.
Columbus, Ohio in the red at 244, the worst ever there. The index reaching 230 in Indianapolis. And in Pittsburgh, where the index reached a very unhealthy 231 Thursday. Major League Baseball delaying but ultimately allowing the game between the Padres and the Pirates to be played. Lights turned on for the afternoon game in a hazy PNC Bank Park. Players donning face masks as they ran the bases. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Air travel also a concern in the skies. Today expected to be one of the busiest travel days of the year ahead of the 4th of July holiday, but more cancellations and delays are expected after a ripple effect of flight issues this week.
The TSA expecting to screen 17.7 million people over the holiday weekend, but the biggest number of travelers expected today. The TSA telling GMA they are ready. But it comes as no surprise that travelers are on edge after a brutal week of flying. More than 7,000 flights canceled since Saturday, some people stranded for days.
ABC's Gio Benitez. The Supreme Court set to release opinions on President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan and LGBTQ rights today after its bombshell decision yesterday, striking down affirmative action in college admissions, forcing schools to change the way they consider student applicants.
These big, large resource schools will find a way. They have their entire legal teams scrambling right now to figure out what the directive is.
Harvard professor Leah Wright Reger, the first students who will be affected, rising seniors headed to college in 2024. Another court in New York's Long Island will see an appearance from embattled Congressman George Santos today, indicted on 13 counts of fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. He's admitted in the past to lying about his resume and personal story, but has pleaded not guilty to the charges. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's go in depth now on that Supreme Court story ruling effectively to end affirmative action in college admissions. And today we expect to find out the court's decision on the president's student loan program.
ABC News correspondent Faith Abube joins us live from Washington. What did the president have to say about that affirmative action decision, Faith?
Well, the president said he strongly disagrees with the court's decision. And he says strongly twice. And so that tells you how strongly he feels about that. He says that, affirmative action is so misunderstood and that the court is walking away from decades of precedent after this ruling and that he's severely disappointed in this. You remember, this White House did not want the Supreme Court to take up the case in the first place. They've been on the record explicitly asking the court to reject these cases. The administration even went through the Department of Justice to file a brief to the Supreme Court back then arguing that there was no sound reason for the Supreme Court to take up the Harvard case at all. And so here we are. The courts have now ruled that that, affirmative action needs to be limited in some ways in terms of race-conscious admissions. And so the president says this should not be the last word. He wants the Department of Education to move forward and review practices in schools. So when it comes to admissions, when it comes to diversity in the admissions process, legacy admissions, and other systems. And so what we're hearing is that within the next 45 days, the Department of Education will have some sort of guidance for colleges across the country to figure out how to move forward in light of this ruling.
Has the administration given any hints at what they think some of those answers might be?
Answers to
how they can work around this decision by the Supreme Court and yet still consider the racial background of someone as a reason for admittance to a college.
Yeah, so the president talked a bit about that. He said that, schools need to make sure that they're considering the background, the experiences of the students as it relates to race, which is what the ruling also suggested. Chief Justice Roberts said in the ruling that, while this limits how race is used during the admissions process, students can talk about it, for example, during their essay process, for example, how race has impacted race and the trauma they felt because of their race has impacted their lives. And they can say that in the admissions process. And so the president was also reiterating that that's a message for students and that's a message for the schools as well. And also telling the universities and colleges that they need to maintain their commitment to diversity in one way or another. And so what we're expecting is that this guidance from the Department of Education will lay out in more detail what the administration thinks they can do while complying with the Supreme Court ruling.
Well, we'll wait to hear what the president has to say after his student loan program, after that decision comes down. Faith, thank you. ABC News correspondent Faith Abube with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
And we expect those announcements in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll have instant analysis of it. I know that Greg Skordas is on the standby for us in that first half hour, so stay with KSL.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Andy.
Well, Amanda, it's been a crash-free drive this morning and lighter traffic even seems like than usual for a Friday. I haven't seen anything close to a delay on I-80 out of Tooele, northbound I-15 through Salt Lake County. And even some areas like Mountain View or Bangerter Highway that can kind of get busy early in the morning. I haven't seen that yet. It looks good at all the intersections from South Jordan all the way up to the 201 freeway. Heather?
Same story up north in Weber and Davis County. No accidents reported on city streets or major freeways. Southbound I-15 is at speed with very little traffic right now between Ogden and Salt Lake. That'll take you about 30 minutes, maybe less. US 89, Legacy Parkway, I-84, they're all moving at speed as well. Eric?
I-15 in Utah County is cruising along just fine. If you're westbound on I-80 from the Sugar House area over to I-15, no trouble there. But if you're eastbound going in that stretch at 700 East, you're not going to be able to go south on 700 East. So bear that in mind as you try to get into that area. I-80 into the mountains, that looks good this morning. When you choose Performance Automotive and at Bountiful, you're choosing selection. 4 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See it all at performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. July comes in with the heat. We'll go 88 today for your last day of June, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, 93, mostly sunny. High pressure moves in overhead on Sunday. 97 degrees, mostly sunny skies. We'll then go partly cloudy on Monday, 100 degrees the high. 97 for the 4th of July, partly cloudy skies. We back it off to the mid-90s as we work into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in Salt Lake City, 62 degrees, and your 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Don't you love this time of year?
I do.
Summertime is just...
Well, and this time of the morning in particular, when you've got decent temperatures, nobody's on the road or few people, and getting out for a walk or a jog, whatever it happens to be, is great.
Just beautiful. I want to share our text line with you in case you ever want to text us and just say Happy Friday or a comment on a news story. We welcome your text on the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line, 57500.
We'll check money news coming up next. KSL News Time, 623.
Don't miss America's Freedom Festival in Utah County, a celebration with a mission to teach the honor and patriotism of our great nation. Take in Utah's largest July 4th Grand Parade, Freedom Days in downtown Provo, Balloon Fest, and Colonial Fest in Orem, followed by the state's biggest fireworks show and concert, Alta Bank Stadium of Fire, featuring Journey. For information, visit freedomfestival.org. freedomfestival.org.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm originally from New Jersey. It's a little different than Utah. Oh, okay. It's a lot different than Utah. You understand what I'm saying here? I first came here on a date. I had an employee who lived in Utah, and I said, that girl, I think I'm going to meet her, and it's tax deductible. I never left. I've never left. I've been here for going on 15 years now, and we've been married for 12. I've been around the block in the radio business. I've worked for a lot of major companies. There are none with the commitment to the community that I found at KSL. There are none with the camaraderie of the staff that I found at KSL. And there are none with the commitment of management and the company to the safety, the health, the welfare of their staff. And I just love this place.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Launching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Inflation in Europe has gone down for the second month in a row. Consumer prices only rose 5.5% in June, so they're not doing quite as well as we are, but still, that's much better than the 6.1% they had in May.
You may remember some time ago we were telling you about a gown that was worn by Princess Leia in Star Wars that was going up for auction. The company that ran the auction hoped to get $1 million for it, but the offers were nowhere near that. So it went unsold in the auction. We thought we'd update you on that. And some other things that did sell. A lightsaber from the 2005 film Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, sold for $118,750.
Wow. KSL drives. Many 4th of July travelers are driving this weekend thanks to lower gas prices. The national average for gasoline dropped to $3.55 a gallon. That's a 27% difference from the same time last year. I thought gas prices went up before the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, me too, because so many people were going to be out on the road. That
not this time.
But I don't know that they could have gone any higher.
They can always go higher, too.
We've seen them go higher, but at this point, please give us lower gas prices. The Dow futures are in the green this morning. We actually finished up yesterday at the closing bell, too, but we're going to add to that. The Dow is up 106. The S&P is up 18. The NASDAQ this hour is up 82 degrees. 82 points.
82 points. You've got a good drive on the freeways this morning and major city streets. Everything looks good on the Friday. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Utah needs to replace Representative Chris Stewart.
In this special election, only one person can come out of convention, and that person is Celeste Malloy.
Now we know at least one Republican has made the ballot.
She did get the endorsement from her former boss, Congressman Chris Stewart. She called herself a political dark horse.
Now it's a foot race for a handful of other challengers to collect signatures and make the primary. The drop-dead date is Tuesday the 5th. We'll update the field all this week on KSL News Radio.
When your back pain is your foot's fault. This is Dean's story.
It was affecting me when I walked, which is a kind of a common activity.
Dean's chronic back pain had become a pain in the you-know-what.
At first, I just sort of ignored it, but eventually everything catches up to you.
Physically and mentally.
Back pain affects your mood. It really does.
But that's not the only connection Dean made.
A friend of mine suggested I go to the Good Feet store. I was a little confused. Why would I need a foot store? My feet are fine.
But he thought, what the heck? He had nothing to lose.
They took impressions of my feet, and with the footprint, they were able to get me a personalized arch support that, lifted pressure off my back.
So the source of your back pain was right under your toes.
It's something maybe I should have known, but I found out in the nicest possible way.
See how arch supports work for you with a free fitting. Find your Good Feet store at goodfeet.com.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Farmington, Riverton, or Sandy for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit mygoodfeet.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I hope you had a chance to join Doug last night for that special edition of the movie show at the Megaplex Theaters at the District. He'll be at NPS today from 9 until noon.
6:29, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Typical Friday morning, Andy?
It has been so far, Tim. Light traffic on I-15 all the way through the Salt Lake Valley. Bangor yet to see any slow spots. Mountain View, though, looking a little bit more normal with heavier southbound traffic at the moment from West Valley into West Jordan. Northbound's a little bit heavier in the Harriman stretch. Tooele County, already some Lake Point slowdowns. SR 36. Minor at this point, but it's right at the Flying J Saddleback Boulevard intersection. Heather?
We have some heavier pockets of traffic now. Southbound I-15, most of that around 200 North in Kaysville as people are merging onto the freeway. But that's the only spot I see where you could have some brake lights. Not happening at the moment, but it could in the next 10 or 15 minutes. I-84 looks really good through the mountains if you're going to and from Morgan, and City Street starting to fill in as well, especially in Ogden, Roy, and Clearfield. Eric?
Lane closure 700 east underneath I-80. If you're southbound, you're not going to be able to go all the way through that area. And if you're exiting eastbound I-80, you'll have to turn left and go north on 700 east. You won't be allowed to go south at the moment. I-15 Utah County, northbound and southbound, that's in good shape. Get Mr. Max Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar sweatshirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnson & Murphy shoes. Just $595. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today is going to be a beautiful day. It's already a lovely morning. Our high today, 88 degrees. We start to climb up to 100. We'll get there by Monday. Right now, downtown, 62 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
We might be seeing our last 80-degree day in a while this week as a small heat wave pushes Utah closer to usual summer temperatures.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with the details. Peter?
Amanda, the summer weather's arrived late, with Monday looking like it's going to bring the first 100-degree day of 2023. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says not to blow off the sudden thermometer jump.
A lot of folks are kind of scoffing at it, right? Oh, we've seen a lot hotter than this. This time of year we can get way hotter, which is true, but we're not acclimated to this type of heat just yet.
Johnson says most summers see an earlier buildup in temperatures, but June's storm systems kept away the hot days.
We just haven't seen these yet this season. We've been hanging out with 70s and 80s, but now we're going to go with 90s and triples.
It's all 90s the rest of the week. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
All this hot weather means more people are going to be enjoying Utah's lakes and reservoirs on boats this weekend, but the state also sits at the top of the list for boating accidents. Here's KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson.
Utah's #1 status is for number of boating accidents per 100,000 vessels. 105.9 is the highest in the nation. The Beehive State is #5 for boating deaths. That average between 2018 and 2022 of 12.7 fatalities per 100,000 boats, or a total of 41 deaths. Total vessel property damage from those boating accidents is equal to $3,056,861. An estimated 100 million Americans, nearly 1/3 of the total population, go boating each year. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
One of Zion National Park's most famous hikes has reopened, but authorities are urging hikers to be extremely careful. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
Runoff has kept the Narrows closed since April. The hike is now open, but monsoons later in the summer may close the hike again. Open Snow meteorologist Alan Smith is confident that monsoon season won't be arriving until late July, but hikers need to be prepared and remember that the water levels get deeper the farther upstream you go. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
I would suggest everybody make that trip one time in your life to see the Narrows. KSL's top national stories this hour. President Biden reacted strongly to the Supreme Court's decision to remove affirmative action from college admissions. ABC's Justin Finch begins our team coverage from Washington.
President Biden last night saying the court went too far right, adding the court has become not just conservative, but it's like a throwback. In a 6-3 decision, the court's conservative justices declared the admissions policies at the two schools at the center of the case, Harvard and the University of North Carolina, violate the Constitution's guarantee of equal protection of the laws.
Utah Senators Mitt Romney and Mike Lee have thrown their support behind the Supreme Court's decision on affirmative action. Here's Hugo Ricard-Bell.
Amanda, Mitt Romney said on Twitter, preference for one is prejudice for another. He was backed up by Mike Lee, who said he applauds the Supreme Court for upholding the 14th Amendment's principle of equal protection. President Joe Biden is strongly against the decision, urging colleges to consider challenges applicants face based on race.
We need to keep an open door of opportunities. We need to remember that diversity is our strength.
The policies have been long used to raise the number of Black, Hispanic and other underrepresented minority students on American campuses. Reporting live, Hugo Ricard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic, here's Andy Farnsworth.
Tim, right now I-15 still rolling as you head through Salt Lake, Davis, and Utah counties. We've got light traffic patterns. The first close to heavy traffic turning into slowdowns is on South 15 near the 200 North Kaysville on-ramp heading towards Farmington. No delays on 215 as you loop around Salt Lake County or go on I-80 through Parley's Canyon. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
California has finalized a report on reparations for Black residents.
The nearly 1,100-page report, 2 years in the making. The study details what it describes as ongoing and compounding harms experienced by African Americans as a result of slavery and its lingering effects on American society today. The report lists over 100 recommendations on how Black Californians can be made whole, including the state formally apologizing, return property unjustly seized from Black residents, and over policing and mass incarceration and wellness centers in historically Black neighborhoods.
ABC's Andrea Fujii says the report was released on the same day the U.S. Supreme Court struck down affirmative action.
The holiday travel rush is in full swing after what's been a stressful week for travelers.
While airlines are mostly back to normal after storms and staffing issues led to cancellations earlier this week, United Airlines is not. The airline canceling more than 400 flights Thursday, far more than any other airline. Earlier this week, United CEO blaming the FAA for staffing issues it says caused the delays. The transportation secretary tells ABC News it's not that simple.
United Airlines seems to have some issues that are specific to their airline.
The company says more cancellations could be on the way as it closely watches the weather in Chicago and Denver, where storms covered the area in hail.
ABC's Morgan Norwood says more than 600 flights were canceled Thursday alone.
He's known as the world's most frequent flyer. He's got more miles than you, Tim.
A lot more.
That's saying something. Tom Stuker has flown more than 23 million miles after falling in love with flying in the 1980s. He even bought a United Airlines lifetime pass for a whopping $510,000, but it's paid off. In 2019 alone, he took 373 flights.
It has nothing to do with the Taj Mahal or the Eiffel Tower or the Colosseum in Rome or the pyramids. I've seen all these things, but it's the people I've met along the way, the people I've sat next to and have become lifelong friends with.
It's the flying. He just loves the flying.
Yeah.
Stuker says all these flights would have cost him nearly $2.5 million if he didn't have the lifetime pass.
They would never sell a lifetime pass these days, would they?
I don't think so.
I mean, $510,000 is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just approaching a million-mile
Which is amazing to me, Tim.
With Delta Airlines, but that's an amazing story. 24 times what I've flown in my life. Coming up in a minute, we'll get another look at how the roads are doing this morning. It's been a typical Friday for the most part, and the last report we have was no crashes or slowdowns on I-15, the 215 Belt Route, or the 201 Highway. We'll check traffic and weather next.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Playing KSL News Radio.
New trouble for Amazon. Everything near the parks has turned into an Airbnb.
In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services. And if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Summer can be a lot of fun, but boy, there's a lot of warnings out today. Not to underestimate the effects of hot weather. Be careful around fireworks. Be careful if you're going to be on your boat. We're going to have team coverage for you, preparing you for the weekend here this morning.
6:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, travel through the Salt Lake Valley still looking good on I-15, whether you're heading into Salt Lake from the south end or heading from Salt Lake all the way out towards Midvale, Sandy. You've got the full speed limit. It looks good on Bangor until you get into West Valley. A little bit of waiting now at 3500 South. I'm seeing some heavier traffic as well on I-80 now between Lake Point and SR 201, and then a little bit of heavy traffic on SR 36 through Stansbury Park. Heather?
A report of a crash southbound I-15 right near 24th Street in Ogden. Haven't seen it on cameras yet, and there's no slowing, but just be cautious as emergency crews will be arriving on scene. And then as you continue southbound, you do have your brake lights now between 200 North in Kaysville and the US 89 split in Farmington. After you get past that area, you're going to be good all the way into downtown Salt Lake with no problems on Legacy Parkway or the city streets. Eric?
Get a little bit more congested as you head north towards the University of Utah. No major delays, though, so far. I-80, if you're westbound from the mouth of Hartley's Canyon over to I-15, looks good. But eastbound, if you're exiting at 700 east due to lane restrictions, you won't be able to turn south on 700. You're going to have to go north. And down Utah County, I-15 progressing at a normal rate, 20 minutes northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll stay below normal today with a high of 88. Mostly sunny skies. Very nice. Overnight lows, low 60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow will go mostly sunny, high of 93, then 97 as we work into Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
That sun is up this morning and 62 degrees.
That jury said not guilty yesterday in the case of the former resource officer at Parkland High School. Remember that?
You could feel those emotions yesterday, couldn't you?
He bowed his head and started crying, and I felt
he was shaking.
Oh, yeah. More on that with Jackie Quinn in a moment on KSL.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. Tim and Amanda here on your Friday morning on KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Summer is upon us, and do you know what your lawn wants? It wants Revive Organic Soil Treatment upon it. A Revive treatment with fertilization, aeration, and good watering is the key to building stronger roots for a healthy, lush green lawn all summer. Revive fertilizes and moves water and nutrients deeper into the soil. You'll see the difference. Revive is surefire defense against summer drought and skyrocketing water costs. Make the most of your watering with Revive Organic Soil Treatment. Apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment today. It works.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Time now for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News.
I know you hate the Yankees, but after last night's incredible performance, it's time to note that perfect games are often pitched by imperfect people. Last night, it was someone you never heard of. Or if you're a baseball fan, you'd only heard of Domingo Germán as a screw-up. He was suspended half a season for domestic violence. He was suspended again for doctoring a baseball. In the past couple of weeks, he's been absolutely awful on the mound till last night. Out of the blue, 27 batters up, 26 batters out, and then number 27 at the plate.
Grounded to third. Donaldson has it. There it is. Perfection for Domingo Germán.
Now, Domingo Germán, who doesn't speak a lick of English, is etched into the baseball history books. In the entire history of the sport, there have only been 24 perfect games, 4 of them by New York Yankees whose names started with the letter D. There's Don, 2 Davids, and now a Domingo. Baseball is a sport filled with delightful and meaningless coincidences like that.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that was so incredible to watch. Good for him.
And today, baseball celebrates the oddest of occurrences, a perfect game pitched by a man who's hard to root for.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Really was a great moment, whether you're a baseball fan or not. Jeff's back this afternoon to get you to the weekend on KSL News Radio, starting at 3. KSL News Time, 6:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
once the ballot in Utah's race to replace Congressman Chris Stewart takes shape, it's likely to be 4 women from 3 different political parties. I'm KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts.
Second, the Narrows hike in Zion National Park is reopened, but authorities are urging hikers to be extremely careful because of the potential for flash flooding.
Third, traffic and weather together.
Right now, got a crash reported on South 15 in Ogden near 24th Street. I do see a little bit of slowing building up. The crash is supposed to be over on the left side. You've also got some building traffic southbound in Kaysville right now, but so far so good on I-15 through the Salt Lake Valley. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy your last day of the 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 62 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
23 states with elevated air quality index levels due to drifting Canadian wildfire smoke, all of Pennsylvania under a code red.
A movie-like scene watching the Steel City skyline vanish from Mount Washington this morning. It was a mixture of fog and smoke from Canadian wildfires. Those wildfires causing the state of PA to be under code red air quality action day today. Code red means the air quality is at an unhealthy level for the general population, but especially for vulnerable groups like kids, seniors, and those with respiratory problems.
ABC's Tori Yorgi in Pittsburgh. The Supreme Court releasing more hot-button opinions this morning after its decision yesterday, striking down affirmative action in college admissions, student loan forgiveness, and LGBTQ rights on tap today. And also in court in Long Island, New York, embattled Congressman George Santos, indicted on 13 counts of fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. He's pleaded not guilty. I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Let's go in depth here. A former South Florida sheriff's deputy accused of taking shelter rather than confronting the Parkland school shooter back in 2018 has been cleared of all wrongdoing by a jury.
We get the update this morning from America in the Morning's Jackie Quinn.
Former Broward County Deputy Scott Peterson dropped his head and sobbed in relief when the not guilty verdicts were read in court. He told reporters it was the gunman responsible for the 17 deaths at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Don't anybody ever forget this was a massacre on February 14th. The only person to blame was that monster. It wasn't any law enforcement. Nobody on that scene from BSO, Coral Springs. Everybody did the best they could.
Peterson was the first law enforcement officer in the country tried for inaction during a school shooting. Grieving father Tony Montalto does not understand the verdict.
We still feel he should be haunted every day by his failure to act. I know that he contributed, I should say, to the deaths of my daughter Gina, her schoolmates, and their teachers.
since the video showed Peterson taking cover outside the building instead of going in and saving lives.
Despite the fact that he was acquitted, it will not change the video that should be seared in everyone's mind of his cowardly actions as he ran away from that building, where the shots were ringing out, where students and teachers were defenseless, depending on the school resource officer to save them.
Montalto says of the jurors, maybe they should hire Peterson to work at their kids' schools. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Just a few minutes ago, Scott Peterson appeared on CNN with his attorney saying he would be open to meeting with the families who lost children that day. Wow.
Yeah.
He faced a life sentence if he had been convicted.
There are mixed emotions, obviously, and we understand the emotions on all sides, including his yesterday during that court case. But emotions are varying from the parents of those kids, and there was a mother this morning who said she only holds one person responsible, and that is the shooter himself. Just a tough story all around. You wonder if this case will have any input or any lasting effects, I guess, on other cases that may come from, like what happened in Texas.
Yes, right. The situation was different there, but it's a similar sort of claim.
At Uvalde.
Failure to act. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. Something we'll continue to follow, of course, on the In-Depth at 15 and 45. 6:49, time for us to get a look at traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy Farnsworth has another look at your drive this morning.
Well, Tim, travelers through Salt Lake County aren't seeing any delays on I-15, but if you're on the 21st South Freeway, you are starting to see some waiting time if you're going between 8,000 and 7,200 West. It's also pretty thick going from Bangerter Highway, or from Mountain View Corridor over to Bangerter Highway. Mountain View itself seeing a couple blocks of slowdowns at 3,500 South, but I don't see any extra delay along Bangerter Highway this morning at 9,800 South or up in the West Valley where you get back into the intersections again after going a long ways without them. Heather?
We did have a crash southbound I-15 at 24th Street in Ogden. It had been blocking the left lane and shoulder, causing a bit of slowing in the area, but it just pulled away a couple of minutes ago. Traffic is back to normal speeds as you make your way through Ogden, head into Davis County. You'll occasionally see some brake lights, though, around 200 North in Kaysville. That's the only slowing we have on city streets and major freeways. Eric?
If you're on I-80 this morning, exiting at 700 South, this is for eastbounders, you're not going to be allowed to turn right and go south onto 700 East. That's because of lane restrictions. Otherwise, I-80 does look good from I-15 past Parley's Canyon for eastbound all the way out to the Kimball Junction exit. Along the Wasatch Back, no problems between Heber City and Park City on US 40. Enjoy low-maintenance, single-level luxury living planned community. Access to golf, pickleball, and open trails. Nilson Homes in Davis, Weber County. Visit nilsonhomes.com. nilsonhomes.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, our last day of bonus weather. We'll go 88 degrees today, below normal, mostly sunny skies. Here comes high pressure, Saturday 93, mostly sunny. 97 on Sunday, again mostly sunny. Then we go triple digits, 100 the forecast high on Monday, partly cloudy skies. We back it off a touch for the 4th of July, 97, partly cloudy. 94 on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies. Mid-90s prevail into next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, downtown, 62 degrees. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
One of the things we're going to keep an eye on, if you're a sports fan, the NBA free agency starts today. And we were told earlier that the Jazz have too many players for a roster right now by 3. So there's some moves that have to be made. And as they talk about, and I know fans are excited about Jordan Clarkson coming back.
Thank goodness. I was so relieved when I saw that. I saw breaking news and a picture of him, and I thought, please, please, please. And then it said he was staying. Phew.
Or is it a sign-and-trade situation where they may still make a deal with him?
No.
That's also a possibility.
No.
We're going to keep an eye on that, of course, and talk sports throughout the weekend. Keep an eye on the Jazz for you here on KSL News Radio. We love being able to talk about Les Olson and the fact that they are now Les Olson IT. This is a company that's been around for almost 7 decades, Amanda, and We had to be educated on the fact that they do so much more than just copiers and printers. They can now help you with all of your IT needs.
Yes, and all of your security needs. They do video monitoring systems with facial recognition and license plate detection. They have systems that can be reviewed from your handheld device or your PC, so you don't have to go, anywhere to a security closet. And all the data is stored on the cloud systems. It's all secure. They install it and they make sure it's working well.
Yeah, and so whether it's a matter of cost for your company because you have to be up to speed with new security with all the internet problems that are out there, or whether it's just your insecurity of knowing how to work these devices, once they install all of these systems, they can help you walk through it, and it's really turnkey in most cases.
Yeah, and that's what's one of the things that's so awesome about Les Olson IT is that they have engineers all up and down the Wasatch Front that can help you with anything. Come to your location and help you. They can be your IT department.
And as a matter of fact, they have 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas. So get to know Les Olson IT. Go to lesolson.com.
Smart, connected, modern. Discover life-enhancing independent living services at Trio Orem. Joy isn't just for the young, it's for the young at heart. Trio's signature programs provide a unique approach to wellness, bringing living well and well-being to life. Trio is reimagining retirement to deliver delight in every detail. To learn more, contact Trio Orem at 801-434-8000 or visit treeorem.com.
Watching Utah's Money this morning is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. This is a crazy story. A handbag has been designed that can pass through the eye of a needle. We haven't made sense of this yet, and we probably won't.
It's a teeny-weeny little yellow handbag. I saw a picture of it this morning.
Viewable through a microscope. That's how small this thing is. This handbag is smaller than a grain of salt, but sold for $63,000 at auction.
Yes, but does it have a shoulder strap? I mean, I love bags, don't get me wrong, but I thought that was hysterical.
Oh.
You'd have to keep it in some little... All right, enough, Amanda.
Shows you how bizarre we've gotten in this material world, doesn't it?
A bottle of sriracha used to cost under $10. Now, thanks to a shortage of red jalapeno peppers, a single 28-ounce bottle of the hot sauce is being sold on eBay. You told me this earlier this morning for $70. That's insane, too.
So between hot sauce and handbags, I'm broke today. If you've been on the internet at all, you know that Taylor Swift has been on tour, and it's predicted it's going to be the biggest tour in history. The record, currently held by Elton John's Yellow Brick Road tour, was $800 million. Taylor's tour could be the first billion-dollar concert tour ever.
Billion-dollar tour.
Now, tickets cost more these days, so it's kind of like giving you box office numbers.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day when you could go see a movie for 75 cents, and now it's, $17 or something?
Yeah.
So there's a little of that in there, but still, she's selling out massive audiences.
I mean, cities are calling it Taylor Swift Day,
And talking about the money they're getting on taxes on the back end of all of that. It's a big boom to the economy.
Coming up in about a half hour, we'll get the opening bell on the markets. Right now, the Dow Futures up 151. That's 0.4%. S&P Futures up 26. That's 0.6. The Nasdaq Futures up 138. That's 0.9.
Eastbound delays now starting to show up on the 201 highway in spots between Magna and West Valley City. We'll get an eye on your traffic and weather together again next.
Hi, folks. It's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, it's amazing. J.D. Power has named Window World #1 in customer satisfaction again.
It never gets old when your customers say you're the best.
You mean that's not a made-up story?
It's not made up when you take pride in what you do and pay attention to detail.
Enjoy the value thousands of others have experienced. Call the window company you can trust. Window World, 801-281-8111, or visit windowworldutah.com.
And that's no baloney.
With our roots in northern Utah, Holy Cross Hospital has a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and equally honored to care for northern Utah's vibrant communities. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
Even before the pandemic, 1 in 5 American adults experience some form of mental illness, depression, suicide, prescription opioid misuse. Utah isn't immune to our share of challenges, but there is hope. We need to take action to keep our loved ones safe. That's why KSL has teamed with the University of Utah Huntsman Mental Health Institute to bring you hope and help you thrive. It's Healthy Mind Matters. Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
6:59 traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. Andy?
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County is at its worst on the 201 freeway, although the slowdowns have shifted from Magna over into West Valley, where we've got some brake lights between 56 West and Bangerter Highway. Also seeing some slowing along 35th South over near I-215 in West Valley. Looks good on I-15, though. Draper to downtown, still in the 20-minute range, maybe even a little bit less than that, with mostly light traffic so far. Heather?
30-minute commute from Ogden to downtown Salt Lake on southbound I-15. We did have an earlier crash in Ogden. That's cleared, so you don't have any delays. Just occasional brake lights popping up around 200 North in Kaysville. Eric?
Lane restrictions have 2 right lanes closed to southbound on 700 East, right as you go underneath the I-80 freeway. If you're exiting I-80, if you're eastbound on I-80 and try to exit 700 South, you're not going to be allowed to go south. You can go north, though, on 700 East. I-15, Utah County, no problems, northbound, southbound. Utah traffic alert, plan ahead for delays this July 4th weekend on Utah highways, especially I-15 in Salt Lake, Davis, and Juab counties. Allow extra time and avoid travel during the Friday evening commute. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
88 degrees today, and then you can kiss those 80s goodbye. It's going to be high and dry for the next 7 with 100 coming on Monday.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
Lighting neighborhood fireworks is a Utah tradition for many on the 4th of July, but one family has a warning. 7 years after their own fireworks show went wrong.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston joins us live with details. Peter?
Amanda, Giselle Sullivan is a 12-year-old with some lasting scars from a 2016 fireworks show.
So my left eye, I'm completely blind, and so I can only see out of the right eye, and it really is just nothing.
Giselle's mom tells KSL TV the family was gathered in the backyard when the firework tipped and sent shrapnel into Giselle's left eye. Now they're warning Utahns not to repeat what happened that night.
Just put some big heavy rocks around it, or like a brick or something like that on 4 sides, just so that the box can't tip over.
Be careful of your surroundings and what's going on.
Utahns can light fireworks Sunday through Wednesday. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Pets will likely not be enjoying those fireworks that start this weekend. Here's KSL News Radio's Michael Commit.
Pets, especially dogs, are easily spooked by loud noises. Every 4th of July, many dogs go missing because they'll run away from fireworks until they won't hear them anymore. The Best Friends Animal Society says it's best to keep your pets indoors where it's quiet and surrounded with their favorite toys or treats. If they do run away, be certain they're wearing up-to-date dog tags and that any microchip information is up to date. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
The Highway Patrol is going to make a major push this weekend to keep speeding down and drunk drivers off the road. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell joins us live and continues our holiday weekend team coverage. Hugo?
Amanda, starting at 7 a.m. this morning, well, actually right now, you will be seeing a lot more Highway Patrol vehicles on Utah roads as part of their enforcement blitz to reduce risky driving. A recent study has shown that the number of DUI arrests has increased from last year by over 300, and we're only halfway through the year. which Traffic Safety Resource Prosecutor Tyson Ski told KSL the financial repercussions of getting a DUI is up around $10,000.
These are things that are long-lasting. They go on for a long time. It takes a long time to crawl out of it, and some people never do. And so the better decision is just don't drink and drive.
So be safe on our roads and enjoy the holiday. Reporting live, Hugo Ricard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
There's going to be fireworks in Provo at midnight tonight on the BYU campus. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
BYU fans have been waiting for a long time to get into a Power 5 conference, and at midnight tonight, that wait is over. The school is hosting a party which begins at 11:30 tonight. They will actually count down the minutes and cap it off with a big fireworks show right at midnight. Then on Saturday afternoon, the school will host what the athletics department says is the biggest party that they've ever thrown to celebrate being in the Big 12. That begins at 3, and we will have a special Cougar Sports Saturday leading up to the Big Bash. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The Supreme Court has a few more major decisions to announce today before the court heads out on its summer break. We get a preview this morning from America in the Morning's Lisa Dwyer.
The Supreme Court is expected to announce more major decisions on the court's final day before the justices go on summer break. On student loans, the justices have yet to decide the fate of President Joe Biden's plan to wipe away or reduce student loans. When the court heard arguments in the case in February, the plan did not seem likely to survive, though it's possible the justices could decide the challengers lack the right to sue and the plan could still go forward. On gay rights, that case involves a Christian graphic artist from Colorado who wants to begin designing wedding websites, but objects to making wedding websites for same-sex couples. The justices have already released important decisions this week on other issues, including affirmative action, voting rights, and religious rights. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The ballot in the race to replace Congressman Chris Stewart will likely have at least 4 women on it.
And those 4 women are from 3 different political parties. The Republicans will likely have 2, Celeste Malloy and Becky Edwards.
You know, I'd love to say that didn't matter, but in 2023, that's a statement.
Edwards just submitted her 7,000 signatures yesterday, though they still need to be certified.
It means that women are seeing that their voices matter, that they're engaging politically, and that people are supporting them, not just because they're a woman, but because they have a strong vision for the future of this state.
Democrats nominated Kathleen Reby, and the United Utah Party has put forward January Walker. Only 4 Utah women have ever served in Congress since Utah statehood. Lindsay Ertz, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And drivers looking pretty good this morning as you head into Salt Lake City. We had a little bit of an issue earlier in Ogden and then some slowdowns in Kaysville, but both of those areas have cleared out at this moment. As you're traveling through the Salt Lake Valley northbound 15, you won't see any delays. 215's east side, a little heavy in the construction near 33rd South and the 21st South Freeway. Seeing a few backups as you go between 56 West and Bangerter Highway. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now with Matt Johnson. He has a look at the lake and reservoir water temperatures leading into the holiday weekend.
Here's a list of some of the temperatures. Bear Lake, water temperature 63. Pineview, 68 degrees. Willard Bay, 72, a little warmer there. Deer Creek, 64. Utah Lake, 74 degrees. Another warm spot, Sand Hollows, 74. And, of course, Lake Powell, 74 degrees, that water temperature.
All right, back to the air temperature here for a minute. The 4th is looking hot for most of the state. St. George, predicted high of 106.
In other parts of the country, severe weather continues to have a big impact. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more.
Parts of the Midwest have been battered by severe storms that brought winds of more than 80 miles an hour to Illinois, leveling trees. More than 150,000 people were without power there overnight, and another 200,000 in Indiana. Those storms blowing away that harmful smoke from the Canada wildfires. The eastern part of the country, not as lucky. The New York and Philadelphia air quality alerts are in effect today. Detroit and Washington, D.C. also blanketed with haze. The 2 cities at one point having the worst air quality in the world.
The first law enforcement officer on the scene at the 2018 Florida school shooting who took cover instead of taking action was acquitted yesterday on all charges.
More than 5 years after the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, a not guilty verdict for the school's resource officer who stayed outside, failing to confront the gunman.
We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case.
The defendant is not guilty.
Former Sheriff's Deputy Scott Peterson sobbing as the jury acquitted him on all 11 counts, including child neglect, culpable negligence, and perjury for the deaths and injuries of 10 people on the 3rd floor, which occurred while Peterson stood outside.
ABC's Victor Akendo reporting there from Fort Lauderdale.
A grand jury in Texas has declined to indict rapper Travis Scott and 5 others for the deadly 2021 Astroworld Festival crowd stampede. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg announced the grand jury's decision.
The grand jury of the 228th District Court of Harris County found that no crime did occur, that no single individual was criminally responsible.
Hundreds of lawsuits filed after the concert were consolidated and are being handled by one judge.
I saw the video in this next story. Close call for a paddleboarder in the Atlantic Ocean.
A hammerhead shark caught on video circling in the water right behind Malia Tribble, its fin clearly visible.
I thought I may have hit seaweed. It happened a couple times. And then my husband happened to notice the fin.
Tribble and her husband paddling for charity from the Bahamas to Florida, both surviving unscathed. It's one of several encounters this week with sharks around the country.
It bit me 3 times.
12-year-old Magnolia Woodhead from Philadelphia was in Cocoa Beach, Florida after a gymnastics competition when a shark bit down on her leg, leaving her with multiple puncture wounds. She needed 50 stitches.
That's ABC's Derek Dennis, and this is why I would paddleboard in the lakes of Utah and not the oceans off the coast. Smaller fish with less teeth. KSL News Time, 7:09. Let's get a look at traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And we go back to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, slowdowns have kind of been coming and going in the Salt Lake Valley right now. It looks better through Magna than it did earlier, but it's still heavy as you go on 201 through West Valley over towards Bangerter Highway. I am seeing traffic increasing a bit now on I-15 around the South 215 interchange, 7200 South, 5300 South near those exits, but not any extra travel time, so it's just heavy traffic, but you'll be able to maintain the speed limit even in those parts. Heather?
It's much the same in Weber and Davis County. The slowing southbound I-15 around Kaysville sort of comes and goes, but it is pretty heavy as you make your way between Clearfield and Farmington. No problems if you're transitioning onto Legacy Parkway or the West Side Belt, and you've got good speeds and no problems, no accidents reported on city streets. Eric?
I-15 Utah County looking swell this morning, 24 minutes northbound from Spanish Fork up to Point of the Mountain. If you're out in Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs, it's starting to build a little bit both on Pioneer Crossing and 2100 North, heading from Redwood Road east over to the freeway. I-80 this morning, if you're eastbound heading towards Sugar House at 700 East, if you're exiting there, you're not going to be allowed to go south on 700 East. You're going to have to go north. That's because you got some road construction going on there and lane restrictions in that area. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today. They're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindowsusa.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast. We'll start your Friday morning out at 7 a.m. with sunny skies. Temperatures in the low 60s. Working into the lunch hour, still holding on to sunshine. Temperatures in the low 80s. By this afternoon, we top out at 88 degrees with mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Starting to warm up out there, 63 degrees.
In just about an hour, we'll get those final decisions from the Supreme Court, including one on LGBTQ rights and religious rights, and then there's also one on President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. The president waiting for that like the rest of us. We'll have more on that in a moment on KSL.
NBA free agency begins this afternoon, and Utah Jazz fans are curious to see if the team will be making any significant moves. We get a little preview here from KSL sports anchor Sam Farnsworth.
Multiple reports are out saying that Jordan Clarkson has decided to exercise his option to stay with the Jazz. So what does that really mean? Well, Clarkson will be paid $14.2 million this season if his contract stays how it currently is, because the Jazz could choose to extend this contract to keep him around for a while, or they could sign him to that extension and then trade him in a sign and trade. The Jazz also guaranteed Kelly Olynyk's contract for the upcoming season, which means Kelly O will be paid $12.2 million this season. That also means that as of now, the Jazz are well above the roster limit of 15. So more moves are coming.
Yeah, the Jazz right now actually have 18 players under contract.
4 professional football players have been suspended for gambling.
Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Indianapolis Colts, as well as free agent Demetrius Taylor, have been indefinitely suspended for allegedly betting on NFL games last season. Sources familiar with the matter tell our partners at ESPN that Rodgers placed upward of 100 bets, including at least one on a game involving the Colts. Most of the wagers were small, in the $25 to $50 range. A league source says an investigation by the NFL found no evidence of game manipulation. A 4th player, Nicholas Petit-Frere of the Tennessee Titans, was suspended 6 games for betting on other sports while at the workplace. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
How much will a Star-Spangled July 4th shindig set you back? ABC's Daria Albinger takes a look.
Be prepared to part with more green to celebrate the red, white, and blue this year. The National Retail Federation says Americans are expected to spend $9.5 billion on July 4th events, up from $7.7 billion last year. Most will go to food, drinks, and everything else needed to host barbecues. Inflation is causing many food prices to rise, especially meat. That's followed by parades and travel expenses. And in case you're wondering, 1 in 3 Americans will buy a flag or some other patriotic item. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Where do you keep your ketchup? Do you keep your ketchup in the fridge? Or
in the fridge. At our house.
A condiment company gave a strong answer on that. KSL News Radio's Andrew Gordon has more.
The question has always been whether or not to refrigerate your ketchup bottle. Ketchup manufacturer Heinz tweeted strongly that ketchup goes in the refrigerator. The U.S. Department of Agriculture countered and said that ketchup doesn't need to be refrigerated. A poll conducted on Twitter by Heinz showed that around 60% of people keep it in the fridge, with the remaining 40% storing it in the cupboard. So it seems the decision is really up to you. Andrew Gordon, KSL News Radio.
Well, it's in the cupboard till you open it, and then it goes in the fridge.
Right, that's what I do. But why? That doesn't make sense.
It is a major crisis at our house if we don't have ketchup.
Oh, talk about it at my house, too.
And so we have 3 giant bottles that are always in the storage room downstairs. Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, what's your favorite social media platform? Today is National Social Media Day. Isn't every day Social Media Day? The day was founded in 2010 to celebrate social media's ability to bring the world together, and it turns out people use social media platforms for an average of 144 minutes every day.
Oh my gosh, 2 hours and 15 minutes a day?
That's crazy.
Is that did I do right math there? I'm not sure. Or 24.
Yes.
It seems like there's a world record for everything. A French firefighter earned 2 Guinness World Records after being set on fire. He now has the longest distance of 893 feet and the fastest 100-meter sprint of 17 seconds, all while being covered in a full-body burn. Why do people do these things, Tim?
So that
do they not have Netflix?
They can say they're a Guinness World Book holder.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, maybe he needs more time on social media. KSL News Time, 7:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Sunday marks the opening of a 3-day fireworks season in Utah, and the State's Department of Public Safety wants Utahns to celebrate with caution. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, NBA free agency begins this afternoon, and the Utah Jazz will need to make some moves to cut down their roster.
Third, traffic and weather together.
We've got some vehicles on the right and left shoulders of southbound I-15 right after Point of the Mountain going into Lehigh. Doesn't at this point look like it's causing any slowdowns. We'll see what happens. The rest of the freeways still in good shape. Utah, or the rest of Salt Lake and Davis and Weber counties, no delays at all right now. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy your last day of the 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 63 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Derek Dennis. More big decisions today from the Supreme Court. A new round of opinions released in the next hour after yesterday's decisions striking down affirmative action in college admissions, student loan forgiveness, and LGBTQ rights on tap today. 23 states with elevated air quality index levels due to drifting Canadian wildfire smoke, clouds of it headed east.
New York State issuing an air quality alert. Governor Kathy Hochul.
Air quality is unhealthy in every corner of the state of New York.
The air quality index in the red reaching over 150 in some parts of the state. Hochul urging residents to keep an eye on the air quality index.
Before you plan your outdoor activities, know what the numbers are, know what precautions you can take.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Also in New York and a Long Island Island courtroom, embattled Congressman George Santos, indicted on 13 counts of fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. He's pleaded not guilty to the charges, but has previously admitted to lying about his resume and personal story. The weekend travel rush is on ahead of the 4th of July holiday. ABC's Gio Benitez at Newark Airport in New Jersey.
It's been a wild week of travel, and today is going to be a busy one. Right now, though, cancellations are looking a whole lot better than they have all week long. That's good news, but some travelers are still feeling the pain.
And how are the roads?
If you're leaving today, you want to go before 10 a.m. or wait until after 6 p.m. because we have a giant window in the middle of the day, a 7-hour stretch from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's going to be the busiest window for travel today. Now, tomorrow gets a little bit easier. You want to try to take off before noon. The worst, though, is going to be at 1. And naturally, the heaviest congestion is going to be in your major metro areas, Boston, Seattle, Washington, D.C.
ABC's Trevor Ault. The last living sibling of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has died. Christine King Farris joined her brother in the 1965 March for Voting Rights in Alabama. Dr. King's older sister was 95. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. President Biden waiting, like all of us are, for the Supreme Court to rule on his student loan forgiveness program. And the president has made it clear he isn't happy with several other recent court decisions.
ABC's Rachel Scott is outside the White House this morning.
President Biden is making it clear that he is deeply disappointed with the Supreme Court's decision, calling for a new standard in the college admissions process that takes into account the adversity that a student has had to overcome. But there is a deep divide within Washington and across the aisle. The frontrunner for the Republican Party, former President Donald Trump, told ABC News that it was a great day for America. His aides and allies quick to know that this is a decision that was made possible by the former president, with 3 of his Supreme Court picks now sitting on the bench. Even Republican candidates that have made overcoming adversity a central part of their campaign message also say that they do support this ruling from the Supreme Court. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, who introduces herself on the campaign trail as a child of immigrants, saying that this decision ensures that every student, regardless of background, can reach the American dream. And that praise rippling throughout the entire crowded Republican field.
Of course, we'll keep our eyes on the Supreme Court and have those newest decisions for you. Today is the last day to announce decisions, so we'll get them today for sure. That's right after 8 o'clock.
Stay with KSL News Radio, and we'll cover it on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
7:19, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, travel still looking good for the most part in Salt Lake County. I-15 yet to see any slow spots. If you're getting to the freeway, not too bad. Bangor, 114th, 123rd, all those roads trying to get to I-15 aren't seeing any extra travel times right now. SR-36 in Tooele County, though, a little bit of slowing only at the one Stansbury Park intersection, and then you're clear through Lake Point and on to I-80. Heather?
Drivers in Weber and Davis County will see most of the traffic on I-15, and most of that right now is heading southbound toward downtown Salt Lake City. But there's not enough traffic to cause any type of slowdowns, consistent slowdowns. Occasionally a few brake lights around 200 North in Kaysville. Traffic is also filling in on city streets, so we're seeing a bit more congestion when the lights turn red at some of the larger intersections in Ogden and Clearfield. Eric.
Well, we got a couple of vehicles on the far right hand side of the freeway, southbound I-15 going into Utah County. And this is just as you get close to Timpanogos Highway. So there's the two cars are fairly far apart from each other, but they may have made contact. It may be an accident. Right now, not seeing any delays go through there, and northbound does look good on I-15 through Utah County from Provo to Lehigh. Wake up with a sore back. Upgrade your mattress today at Durden's new sleep center. Durden's mattresses on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brand you know, at prices you'll love. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. July comes in with the heat. We'll go 88 today for your last day of June, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, 93, mostly sunny. High pressure moves in overhead on Sunday. 97 degrees, mostly sunny skies. We'll then go partly cloudy on Monday, 100 degrees the high. 97 for the 4th of July, partly cloudy skies. We back it off to the mid-90s as we work into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Picture perfect out there this morning. Blue sky, sunshine, and 63 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
The World Health Organization plans to list the artificial sweetener aspartame as a cancer risk. But does that mean people should ditch their Diet Cokes? KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Don't panic yet. The research published by Reuters shows you'd have to drink at least 36 cans of diet soda a day to even be at risk. That's 432 ounces. Registered dietitian nutritionist with the Huntsman Cancer Center, Emily Pribe, says if you have your usual daily soda, you'll be fine.
Most of my recommendations when it comes to nutrition is always going to come down to moderation is kind of the best thing we can do.
So unless you're drinking those 36 cans, you'll most likely be unaffected. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
With these Supreme Court decisions that are coming down in the next hour, it's a good day to remind everybody, if you haven't already done so, text the word news, N-E-W-S, to 57500. That is the Cyprus Credit Union KSL text line. Any day that there's breaking news, it'll immediately come to your device, which makes it convenient for everyone.
We're just about 8 minutes away from the opening bell on the markets. We'll check futures one last time coming up in a moment on KSL.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The Policy Project is a nonprofit organization that promotes and advocates for solution-based policy to remove barriers to education and the workforce. Director of Policy and Government Affairs, Mary Catherine Perry, shares more on the launch of their new initiative, the Teen Center Project.
The number of Utah students experiencing mental health struggles, unstable housing, and other physiological needs is increasing. Over the past year, we have been working on the Teen Center Project, a public-private partnership between the Utah Legislature and private donors to create a space within Utah high schools that provides students support such as laundry facilities, showers, a food pantry, and a trusted adult who can connect students and families with outside resources for more sustained and comprehensive care. Through the Policy Project's advocacy and support of Utah community members, we secured a $15 million appropriation from the Utah Legislature, as well as additional funds from several private donors. This will allow over 60 Utah high schools to access a grant to build a teen center in their schools. Several Utah school districts have piloted the concept and have seen incredible results, including high service utilization, positive academic and social outcomes, and increased graduation rates for their most vulnerable and at-risk students.
Join the movement and visit thepolicyproject.org for more information. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Get up and go.
Hey there, it's Julie from Logan with a personal invitation. Here it is. Get in your car and come see us. This weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show and Parade. Come to the Gardeners Market on Saturday, where you can even pet a live turkey. Okay, that's kind of weird. We're headed into the holiday weekend, so there's rodeo on Saturday, Logan's super impressive Independence Day fireworks July 3rd, and more fireworks and parades on the 4th of July in the towns of Hiram and Lewiston. Step back in time at the American West Heritage Center all summer long. It's outdoor living history in a gorgeous setting. You can hang out with a mountain man, meet pioneers, and even learn to milk a cow if you want. Wait, just wait. The Lyric Rep Theater is doing live performances of the 1950s and 60s musical review The Marvelous Wonderettes and a lavish big band production of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night, plus other performances of The Wizard of Oz. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A California man has developed a new telemarketer call deflection system called Jolly Roger. For $25 a year, customers can choose an AI personality to frustrate and waste the time of telemarketers and scammers.
But what fun is there in that? It's much more enjoyable to do it yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
A Texas-based oil company was fined over $40 million based on accusations of burning off huge amounts of natural gas. According to the regulators, the amount that was burned could have heated 17,000 homes for a year.
Have you ever had trouble leaving a job? A Japanese company has been founded that helps people quit their jobs less awkwardly. How do they help them do that?
I don't know. You go in and tell the boss, so-and-so really doesn't like you anymore, and they can't stand to tell you that that's the truth. But
I'd like to talk to you, but actually, this is my representative, and he's going to give you my notice. The service is called Taishoku Daiko, or Job Leaving Agents. They're different about work over there than we are.
But I can't imagine it would be less awkward to have an agent sitting in the room while you're watching the whole process go down of you quitting.
And unless you left entirely, but how? That's not very respectful.
I don't know. That's
confused.
interesting. Dow yesterday was up 270 points at the close. And look at this, we're up another 200 today, up 0.6 on the futures. We'll have the bell in a minute. The S&P is up 33.5. That's 0.75%. The NASDAQ up another full percentage point this morning, 154.
The roads are getting a little crowded now, but no delays so far. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Doug Wright along with my friend Steve Sales. We do the movie show together, and we discovered NPS together.
Maybe the last ones.
What a I know we're the last on the face of the planet here in Utah. But what NPS does and what they are and the prices and the merchandise they offer, brand new stuff.
It's all brand new.
Discounted 30 to 70% every day. It's amazing.
I know, and I keep referring to these sheets I got a few weeks ago. $50, and they included the pillows, king size. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous.
Aren't you going to mention your left-handed golf club anymore?
No.
He's moved on to sheets now. What does that say? But, you know, the
everything.
Everything. What you're looking for. And at this time of year, some of the gardening things that are there and patio
Did you see the plants they have?
Oh, it's incredible. And again, when they have sales, and you'll always find special sale items,
yeah.
That's a sale on top of the sale.
Exactly.
30 to 70% off every day, and even more. 4 locations. We've got Orem, Layton, and Salt Lake.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
KSL News Time, 7:29. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Andy Farnsworth.
Well, right now, travel on I-15 in the Salt Lake Valley, not too complicated. Full speeds from Draper all the way up into Salt Lake City. For those of you coming out of Tooele County on I-80, traffic is pretty clear at this point from Lake Point to the airport. There is a report of some plywood on I-15 southbound near 90th South. At this point, I don't see any slowdowns, but UHP may do an attempt to slow down to try to get it out of the way. So don't be surprised if you get stuck in some slowing for a minute in Midvale to go Sandy south on I-15. Heather?
No such problems up north in Weber and Davis counties. Right now, we're accident-free on I-15, US 89, and I-84. City streets are getting more congested as we get more traffic on the roadways, but it's still lighter than normal even for a Friday, even at big intersections when the lights turn red. Eric?
Got some lane closures over on 700 East. If you're southbound going by I-80 this morning, the 2 right lanes are closed. If you're exiting I-80, eastbound I-80 and trying to take a right to go onto 700 East to go south, you're not going to be able to do that. You can go north though at that intersection, and then you can turn around and then stick to the left as you go through the area. I-15 Utah County northbound, southbound, that's looking good. Stop by your locally owned and operated Big O Tires for big tire savings this 4th of July. Big O Tires has the lowest price on every tire every day on brands you know and trust. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
That is a beautiful morning out there, sunshine, and we're going to get up to about 88 for a high today. No rain in the forecast for the next 7 days, but we will get to the century mark, 100 degrees on Monday. Right now, 64 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
We're getting the year's first brush with triple-digit temperatures early next week, right before the 4th of July.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston begins our live team coverage holiday weekend. Peter?
Amanda, June weather has hovered in the 70s and 80s so far, and KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says a small heat wave is coming.
High pressure over the west, 90s, even some triple digits sprinkled on in, and it's just in time for the 4th of July weekend.
Well, that's good news for slip and slides at backyard barbecues. Johnson warns we haven't had the usual gradual warm-up that we've seen in other years.
But we're not acclimated to this type of heat just yet. Typically by this time of year, we've already seen something this hot. But this is our first stretch of hot weather, so just be mindful of it.
It's going to be 90s the rest of the week. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
People who enjoy boating will be flocking to the state's lakes and reservoirs this weekend, and there's a renewed call for boater safety.
A new report by Captain Experiences looking at boating accidents and fatalities found the Beehive State near the top. An accident rate of 105.9 per 100,000 vessels, nearly 3 times the national average, puts Utah number 1 nationally. Between 2018 and 2022, Utah experienced an average of 12.7 boating-related deaths per 100,000 boats. That's the 5th highest in the nation. Total property damage from vessels involved in accidents in Utah between 2018 and 2022, $3,056,861. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
One of Zion National Park's most famous hikes has reopened, but authorities are urging hikers to be extremely careful. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit continues our team coverage.
Runoff has kept the Narrows closed since April. The hike is now open, but monsoons later in the summer may close the hike again. Open snow meteorologist Alan Smith is confident that monsoon season won't be arriving until late July, but hikers need to be prepared and remember that the water levels get deeper the farther upstream you go. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The landmark ruling by the Supreme Court effectively ending affirmative action could have consequences far beyond higher education. ABC's Justin Finch has more from Washington.
9 states already prohibit any consideration of race in admissions to their public colleges and universities. The end of affirmative action in higher education in California, Michigan, Washington State, and elsewhere led to a steep drop in minority enrollment at leading public universities. Now the decision could send a ripple effect for hiring practices at corporations. The executive director of a right-wing advocacy group saying the decision will put the wind in the sails of the groups like ours who want to get the woke, racially based hiring and promotion schemes out of corporate America.
Utah Senators Mitt Romney and Mike Lee have thrown their support behind the Supreme Court's affirmative action decision. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell joins us live and continues our team coverage. Hugo?
Amanda, the 2 Utah senators took to Twitter to voice their support on the Supreme Court decision. Mitt Romney saying preference for one is prejudice for another. He was backed up by Mike Lee, who said he applauds the Supreme Court for upholding the 14th Amendment's principle of equal protection. The policies have long been used to raise the number of Black, Hispanic, and other underrepresented minority students on American campuses, and President Joe Biden is strongly against the decision, urging colleges to consider challenges applicants faced based on race. Reporting live, Hugo Ricard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
Stay with KSL News Radio today as we will break in when the Supreme Court issues additional decisions this morning, the final ones of the term, which should include a ruling about President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. That's coming up just after 8 o'clock.
In the meantime, let's get another look at how the roads are doing this morning with First Look Traffic. Andy?
Well, Tim, we haven't had any big delays show up this morning. Some debris and traffic on I-15 near 90th South. May affect drivers trying to get out of the way, but so far there hasn't been any slowdowns that have affected all lanes or anything like that. So travel times are still pretty close to a minimum right now, Provo to Salt Lake to Ogden on the freeways. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
On the same day, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. California finalized its report on reparations for Black residents. The over 1,000-page report took 2 years to put together. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
Though the report recommends the legislature determine a dollar amount, the task force experts estimate each eligible Black Californian could receive up to $1.2 million, costing the state $800 billion, nearly 3 times its yearly budget. This is not a done deal. The recommendations must be approved by the California legislature and signed by Governor Gavin Newsom. Some task force members are cautioning people to be realistic about cash payouts. Meanwhile, other cities in Michigan, Illinois, and Massachusetts are also considering reparations.
Fujii says the reparations include the state formally apologizing and returning property unjustly seized from Black residents.
The airline industry hopes the number of flight delays and cancellations will be going down as we head into the weekend. But so far, it's been a rough week.
With more than 600 flights canceled Thursday alone and more than 7,000 canceled since Saturday, passengers are on edge with bags piling up at airports, some people stranded for days. And the TSA says today will be its busiest of the holiday weekend.
ABC's Morgan Norwood says some of the severe weather back east that caused problems is going away.
A Southwest Airlines plane has damage after hitting a bird while landing in Burbank, California on Thursday. ABC's Alex Stone reports from Burbank.
On the ground at the Burbank airport, the damage clearly visible. A big dent in the nose cone of the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737. The Burbank airport says a plane was on final approach when it hit a bird. The plane landed safely, but that nose cone will have to be replaced, which is a fairly easy fix. It's unclear if there was any other damage. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Speaking of flying, how about this story? He's the world's most frequent flyer. His name is Tom, we believe, Stuker. He's flown more than 23 million miles, and he says he's not done flying just yet.
I think I'll probably hit 24 by the end of the year, pretty close to my 70th birthday.
That's 24 million, by the way. He says he first bought a lifetime pass for United Airlines in 1990, and in 2019 alone, he took 373 flights, totaling 1.46 million miles.
He flew more than once a day?
More than once a day.
That's insane.
Making connections, I'm sure, to get someplace in the world.
Southbound lane closures on 700 East affecting drivers trying to exit there from eastbound I-80. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Before you head to work, before you hit the gym,
keep going, that's it.
Before you make your way home,
Bye.
Get a quick check on traffic and weather.
PD on the scene at 8 South and West Temple.
Highway 89 also really backed up. Listen every 10 minutes on the 9s, in your car at 102.7 FM, or tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
Get ready to wish upon a star as the Utah Symphony brings the magic of Disney to life.
I want adventure in the great white somewhere.
With 4 princess vocalists, a charming prince, a fairy godmother, and projections of Disney film clips, this is an unforgettable concert experience for the kids and kids at heart. July 7th at the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival in Park City. Then on July 8th, Hamilton and Beauty and the Beast star Joshua Henry makes his festival debut. The Grammy winner and 3-time Tony nominee brings his rare talent to a program of Broadway hits and soul classics. Tickets are going fast. Get yours today at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org.
The Deer Valley Music Festival. Visit DeerValleyMusicFestival.org for information.
7:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. Andy?
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County hasn't really gotten any slowdowns on I-15 yet, but I am seeing heavier traffic on Bangerter Highway going from 35th to 21st South. Traffic in Tooele County, a little bit of waiting in Stansbury Park at the Stansbury Parkway intersection on SR 36, and you might hit a red light in Lake Point between Sunset Road and Saddleback Boulevard. Heather?
No problems in Weber and Davis counties. We're accident-free right now on city streets and major freeways. Earlier on southbound I-15, we had some brake lights in Kaysville, but it's been well over half an hour since I saw that. So you're going to be 30 minutes or less between Ogden and Salt Lake. And if you need to get to the airport, you can't use the excuse of too much traffic on Legacy Parkway in the West Side Belt. Eric.
Going from Provo into Orem on University Parkway, it's a little bit busy right at the top of that hill on Park University Parkway as you turn west to go towards State Street. But that's about it for the south part of Utah County. In the north part, you have a little bit of congestion. Redwood Road at 2100 North, but the freeway throughout the county is looking good. I-15 from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's a 24-minute drive time. Keep your allergies under control this spring with Rentmeister. Call 801-773-69 1-800-848-9900 and mention KSL for a free indoor air quality consultation. Visit us at rentmeister.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
It is time for the Pollen Report, brought to you by Rentmeister Total Home Services.
KSL Pollen Report. We're pretty much done with the tree pollen, folks, as we're now into summer. So trees are in the low, mold in the moderate, grass in the moderate, but the dust, unfortunately, still remaining in the high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 64 degrees in Salt Lake.
Today is Doug Wright's last movie show.
I wonder if it's hit him yet.
I can't imagine it would after 4 decades, more than 4 decades.
Yeah.
Doug Wright joins us next live on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. It's Tim and Amanda here to start your day from your all-day companion for news.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear David Dujanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Crashes every single day because of road rage.
A concern for Utah drivers.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
It is time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News.
What's the most popular song in the world?
Happy birthday to you.
Everybody gets serenaded on their special day, except in South Korea, where nobody gets a special day. In South Korea, everybody's birthday is celebrated on January 1st, and everybody turns a year older.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung.
In South Korea, sure, they keep track of actual birth dates for driver's licenses, medical records, but until this week, everybody in South Korea had 2 ages, their legal age and their traditional Korean age. So let me try and explain this. When a baby is born, how old is it? 0, right? Except in South Korea, on the day you're born, you turn 1 because you're in your first year. But this gets complicated because say you have a baby on December 30th. Baby's just born, so in Korea, it's 1 year old. A couple of days later, it's January 1st, and it's everybody's birthday, so the baby turns 2 years old, even though it's only 2 days old. You can see where this gets confusing, which is why this week, South Korea started computing age the same way we do. You start at 0, and on your birth date, your age goes up 1 year. You realize what this means? Everybody's age had to be revised yesterday. The entire country. So a lot of people that were 50 years old when they went to bed the other night woke up in the morning as 49-year-olds. Some fortunate folk were suddenly 48. And that is why the entire country is supporting the change.
'Cause you make me feel so young.
Bureaucrats in South Korea have actually found the fountain of youth.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Jeff's back this afternoon, 3 o'clock on KSL News Radio, where the news time is 7:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
both Senator Mitt Romney and Mike Lee have come out in support of the Supreme Court's decision to strike down race-conscious admission programs in colleges. I'm KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell.
Second, a look at boating accidents around the country shows Utah has 3 times more accidents than the national average.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Got a report of a crash eastbound on 126 South at the Mountain View Corridor intersection. If you're trying to go southbound to eastbound, it's the right shoulder that you'll have to get around. Don't see any big delays on the freeway, though, right now. We'll see if that lasts through this hour. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny and 88 today, then the heater turns on. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 65 downtown.
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
We could talk
Not
for hours.
enough.
Today, this is weird for me to say, actually marks the end of an era. Doug Wright is going to host his final movie show here on KSL News Radio.
And he joins us in studio. Hello, Doug.
Hey, it's so good to see you guys.
It's good to see you, too, because you're always out with the movie show.
I know. The movie show, they KSL's very concerned about the reputation downtown. So they send us out into the hinterlands. But, yeah, it's a strange day for me, I have to admit.
I bet.
You've eased into this, but
yeah.
I asked Amanda a little while ago, I said, do you think it's hitting yet that this is really it?
I've been doing radio, walking into a broadcast environment since I was 16 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
I was only half joking with you. The only real job I've ever had is bagging groceries.
Yeah.
That's, and I'll tell you, I remember the first day over on Social Hall Avenue. It would have been 45 years ago this past June 1st that I walked through those doors, and I was so intimidated. I went, holy cow, am I out of my depth? I came over from KCPX playing rock and roll, but I always have loved and admired KSL, and I'll never forget the feeling of walking through those doors. When I walked through these doors this morning, I thought, wow, 45 years.
Yeah.
And it's a little hard to imagine not looking forward to, preparing for, and anticipating. And you know how y'all save up the mental goodies. Okay, I can use that on the show. Okay, I can. Well, people used to ask, how long does it take you to prepare for your talk show? I said, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, right.
I dream about it.
So what does retirement look like for you, Doug?
Well, I think Walmart is calling. And
welcome to Walmart. Welcome to Walmart.
That's right. I'm just trying to decide
Wouldn't
which
it blow
one.
you away if you walked into Walmart and there is Doug?
Dee and I are going to do a lot of traveling. And Dee loves to travel. I love to travel. She loves to travel. So we're going to be doing some of that. And I finally did finish the bathroom that I worked on for 30 years.
There you go.
But we're progressing through the rooms and just kind of kicking back, taking care of the grandkids. And it's a lot of great things. A lot of great things.
I don't know if you remember this, and it must have been the 75th year of KSL. We were all sitting in a room upstairs talking about memories of the years that we had spent here.
Right.
And you said something that day that I've been thinking a lot about, because you said, and I don't know if you remember this, that if you take KSL out of my life, it would be like taking my oxygen away.
Oh, I'm not kidding you. And I think many of our listeners feel that way, too. KSL is the community gathering place. It really is. I've told this story before, but even when I worked at KCPX, and was very close to, some of the people. Carrie Cochran and I were very good friends, dated for a little while. And I remember when a big news story broke over a weekend. It was the Teton Dam disaster. Where did we turn? We worked for KCPX. We turned to KSL.
Yeah.
And
but life is full of so many other things beyond work.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think broadcasters and people who love their jobs and they love their industry, it becomes part of your DNA, and it's a little hard to imagine life without it. But KSL will still be here for me. And I count on you guys every morning, and it's an amazing business, and KSL is an amazing radio station. I've told this story a gazillion times, but you can have the best act in town, and if you're performing at the Juab County Fair, I love Juab County Fair, by the way, but it's a little different than doing the same performance at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And you guys are sitting in Carnegie Hall
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, you will always be KSL for me, Doug.
Thank
And
you.
that's just the truth. No matter what happens for the rest of my life, that's just going to be, you are KSL for me.
By the way, I wouldn't be sitting here had that guy not plucked me from obscurity in 1988.
1988. That's when the big change started to happen.
Yeah.
From kind of adult all service, everything, best of everything radio.
Yeah.
And we started going and steering into what we are today. And KSL, that's its key to success, is being malleable, being able to change and serve. And, if I could just take a half a second, the people that I have met inside the station and outside the station, everything, our listeners are the best in the world. Our clients, some of the clients that we know and love, and you hear their advertisements on KSL still to this day, I've known forever and are some of my very best friends. And to be able to associate with people such as yourselves and the people that not only are on the air, but off the air too. You know, our engineering staff, our producers, everybody. It's amazing. You know, it's broadcasting is just, it flows through your veins here at KSL. If somebody's a receptionist at KSL, they are a broadcast receptionist.
Yeah.
If somebody's in sales, they are a broadcast salesperson. Engineers, they are broadcast engineers. And everybody contributes to this amazing product that spills out of your radio speakers every day.
Yeah.
Well, we love you, Doug.
Oh,
we love you, we love you, we love you, we love you.
You know, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
And we'll be listening today to the movie show live from NPS.
Yeah, duck and roll.
Yeah, duck and roll.
We'll find out what he thinks of Indiana Jones coming up 9 to noon today with Steve Sales. Let's get a look at how the roads are doing this morning. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. We go to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, we've got a little bit of slowing I-15 right now between 72nd and 53rd South as you go towards Murray, but that's the only slowdown on I-15 that you should run into between Point of the Mountain and downtown. I've already cleared up the crash. I haven't. They've already cleared up the crash that was on eastbound 126 South to go on to southbound Mountain View, so traffic out in that area moving just fine once again. Heather?
No problems up through Weber and Davis County. Good speed southbound 15 from Ogden to Salt Lake. Same story on Legacy Parkway, the west side belt. And no accidents on city streets. They're pretty quiet. Eric?
Northbound out of Heber City, US 40's getting a little bit of congested just as you go to the town limits. Then past that, everything does look pretty good all the way up to Park City. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound, no problem. Supercharge your savings. UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields up to 5.5% on short-term certificates. UCCU, love where you bank. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive. Bountiful, a little bit emotional there after Doug's leaving the booth. Matt, how you doing?
Well, I just shook his hand and I said, a legend. Such a humble guy. Hey, let's go for 88 today. Mostly sunny skies. That'll be our last 80 for a while. 93 on Saturday, mostly sunny skies. 97 on Sunday. And before we know it, we went to the 90s to the triple digits by Monday. Our first 100-degree day. Be ready for it. Tuesday, 4th of July, 97. We'll then go mid-90s as we work into the middle and latter end of next week. But, you know, it was a slow start, and then we just blew the cap off, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Sunny out there right now. It's very pleasant. 65 degrees.
You've heard me say it before, Replenish Landscape Garden Products really has everything you need to make your lawn and garden work and look beautiful. Greg's here with me again. So many different products out there. I think people will find it convenient because they can come in, look at the specific product, get it loaded quickly, and get back home to get the job started.
That's what our focus is on bulk and bag materials. Obviously, we're known for the compost itself, which has gained a great reputation, but our soil blends are excellent. We have the bulk box garden blend. We have 4 different colors of wood mulch, 5 or 6 different kinds of shredded bark, and just a variety of things, including sand and gravel.
A lot of these playground chips and things are found in kids' playgrounds all over the valley. Find out why landscapers valley-wide use Replenish Landscape Garden Products. See them at 4660 South, 200 West in Murray. Go to their website at replenishcompost.com or give Greg and Mike a call at 801-262-5142. Replenish. It's good stuff.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The markets in the first half hour this morning continue to thrive. After an update yesterday, the Dow's gained another 200 points, 0.6. The S&P's up almost a full percentage point, or 43, and the NASDAQ is up 177.
It's time for the 100-day countdown to Cougar football, brought to you by Bish's RV. Here is BYU insider Mitch Harper.
There's still 2 months until the BYU football team kicks off the 2023 season. But tomorrow, fans can officially say BYU is in the Big 12 Conference. July 1st will be the first day for BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston to officially become members of the Power 5 League. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark is excited to welcome BYU in the new programs.
We have great marketing plans to celebrate the new Big 12, the 4 new schools. You'll see a lot of that also around Media Day, which is on July 12th. Again, very excited to be welcoming the 4 schools in. And they've been very much a part of what we've been doing over the last 9 or 10 months since I've been here. Like I said, they've been fully engaged. But officially, they're members in July, and we're going to celebrate it.
Make sure to tune in to Cougar Sports Saturday tomorrow, live from Warehouse B in Linden. to celebrate the big day. Countdown to Cougar football, 64 days to go. I'm Mitch Harper, KSL Sports.
Summer in Utah means road trips and road work. This week, get information on the construction that will affect how you get around, roadwork plans around the state, repairs to potholes, and a future project in Spanish Fork. Summer construction, this week on KSL News Radio.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances. Your moments, your milestones, your love story, all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion or an invitation. You and your life are the event. At Shane Company, we handcraft our jewelry with the greatest care and hand select the most beautiful gemstones so you can shine. So put on a pair of earrings that make your eyes sparkle. Wear diamonds that light up the room. Try on sapphires in every color of the rainbow. Give an heirloom that collects new stories with each generation. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
As I look at my path to the NFL, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. Having a supporting cast for me made all the difference, both on and off the field. And the thing I realized this last year was having that supporting cast made my dreams and my goals a reality. I prepare as best as I can for every situation on the football field. You know, that same mindset applies to me as a husband, as a dad. And being a new father with an 8-month-old child, I've realized that, you know, I now have a responsibility to my son and to my wife, just like I do my teammates. I spend all my time being a quarterback, and I need to find people that I can trust and rely upon. Deseret First Credit Union, they are those people that are spending all that time to help me manage and take care of my family. My name is Taysom Hill, and my why is faith, family, and football.
Holy Cross Hospital is honored to carry the legacy of its namesake and to care for northern Utah communities. Find 5 hospitals and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. More at holycrossutah.org.
7:59 traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, no crashes to report, but I-15 running a bit heavy as you go from 53rd or up from 72nd to 53rd south. SR 201, all slowdowns through West Valley and Magna have cleared out. SR 36 into Willa County, though, a little bit heavy still Stansbury Park, but then Lake Point, you're back to normal traffic, and then on to I-80, you're just fine. Heather?
It's at speed southbound I-15 between Ogden and North Salt Lake, but we're seeing a few brake lights now between Beck Street and downtown Salt Lake City. That's the only delay, and it's not much on any of the major freeways through Weber and Davis counties. Eric?
Well, if you're eastbound on I-80 trying to exit at 700 East, you can go north out of the exit ramp, but you can't go south because 2 of the right lanes are closed southbound on 700 East going underneath the freeway. I-15 Utah County northbound, southbound, that's looking solid this morning from Santa Quin all the way up to Point of the Mountain. Take a break from financial worries. Meet with a Mountain America debt consolidation expert for a chance to win a vacation package. Details at macu.com/debt rescue. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Really a beautiful morning out there. We'll top out at 88 degrees today. It'll be dry all afternoon, and right now 65 in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Utah skies will soon be filled with the sounds of fireworks as we head into the 4th of July weekend.
But one family that experienced a terrible accident is reminding all of us to be careful. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has the story. Peter?
Amanda, I'm currently reporting from outside of a TNT fireworks tent in one of the Smiths parking lots here in Salt Lake City. It's empty right now. It's going to be much busier. And that's important because Giselle Sullivan was telling KSL TV last night about her story that happened back in summer 2016 when she was watching a backyard fireworks show. Her mom tells KSL TV that something went wrong.
The explosion ricocheted
one of the aerials caused it to tip over, and then it just started firing, like misfiring in all directions.
After the firework tipped, a piece of shrapnel hit Giselle's left eye and blinded her.
I do remember crying a lot and everybody panicking.
Giselle and her family have moved on from the accident, but they're urging Utahns this Independence Day weekend to take precautions and light fireworks responsibly. This Sunday marks the first day of fireworks season, and it lasts until Wednesday. Reporting live from the Fireworks 10 in Smith's parking lot, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Another reminder that fireworks and pets don't make a good combination. Here's KSL News Radio's Michael Commit.
While you may enjoy watching and setting off fireworks, your pets, especially dogs, probably don't. Dogs especially will try to escape the sound of an explosion, often running for miles until they won't hear them. Veterinarians.org says that more dogs go missing following the 4th of July than any other holiday, so be certain to make sure your pets are indoors or wearing up-to-date identification tags. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
DUI numbers are way up compared to last year, and the Utah Highway Patrol will have an extra focus starting this morning on drunk drivers and speeders. KSL News Radio's Hugo Rickard-Bell continues our live team coverage of the holiday weekend. Hugo?
Amanda, a recent study has shown the number of DUI arrests have increased in the last year by over 300, and we're only halfway through it. Tyson Ski is a traffic safety resource prosecutor. He says the dollar price of a DUI alone should be enough to deter people from getting behind the wheel.
You're going to be around $10,000, probably minimum, in financial repercussions if you get arrested for a DUI.
Starting at 7 a.m. today, there will be a lot more highway patrol vehicles on Utah roads as part of their enforcement blitz to reduce risky driving. So be safe on our roads and enjoy the holiday. Reporting live, Hugo Rickard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
There will be fireworks in Provo at midnight tonight on the BYU campus. It's part of a multiple celebrations that'll be going on as BYU officially becomes a member of the Big 12 Conference. At 8:45, we'll talk live with BYU insider Mitch Harper, who will break down this weekend's festivities.
The Supreme Court is releasing decisions right now. The first case involves a website, a woman in Colorado who builds websites and did not want to build a website for a gay customer for their wedding. The court holds that the First Amendment bars Colorado from forcing a website designer to create expressive designs speaking messages with which the designer disagrees.
We will continue to watch, and we should have 2 or 3 more of those before the bottom of the hour. Once the ballot in the race to replace Congressman Chris Stewart takes shape, it's likely to mostly be women. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts reports at least 4 women are likely to make it.
What makes this really unique is that these 4 women are from 3 different political parties. The Republicans will likely have 2, Celeste Malloy and Becky Edwards. Edwards just submitted her 7,000 signatures, though they still need to get certified. Then the Democrats have Kathleen Reeby, and the United Utah Party put forward January Walker.
Only 4 Utah women have ever served in Congress since Utah statehood.
First look traffic now, and here's Heather Kelly.
Things are still looking really good all across the Wasatch Front. The only thing slowing anybody down just a little bit are orange construction barrels that we have on the 201 freeway, both directions through Magna, as well as on 700 East. Southbound, you've got 2 right lanes blocked there, but no accidents right now. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
The former sheriff's deputy and school resource officer charged with allegedly failing to confront the Parkland school shooter in 2018 was found not guilty on all counts. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on Scott Peterson.
Peterson sobbing, hugging his defense team as the verdict was read. Some of the family members of the victims looking on in the Fort Lauderdale courtroom, shaking their heads. Peterson was charged with 11 counts, including felony child neglect and culpable negligence. If found guilty, he was facing up to 95 years in prison. The mother of 35-year-old teacher Scott Beagle, killed during the shooting, and had this reaction to the verdict.
And I do believe he did nothing, and I think that was wrong. You know, he may not have been found legally responsible, but he is morally responsible for my son's death.
Peterson has said since that he's open to talk to the victims' families.
Today marks a decade since 19 wildland firefighters were overcome by flames while battling a wildfire near Yarnell, Arizona. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
These are their voices, the last radio transmissions from the Granite Mountain Hot Shots, a team of wildland firefighters from the Arizona city of Prescott. As they got into their shelters, tinfoil-like blankets used as a last resort when overrun by a wildfire.
And I'll give you a call when we are under the
The flames burned over their shelters, killing the 19 men inside. The deadliest day for firefighters since the September 11th terror attack. Today in Prescott and at fire departments around the U.S., there will be memorials to remember the Granite Mountain 19. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Only one member of the 20-man crew survived that day.
One of the primary ingredients in many diet sodas is being linked to cancer by the World Health Organization. But KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla says the research also points out that people would have to consume a lot of the ingredient before it becomes an issue.
Aspartame, an artificial sweetener commonly used in diet soda, sugar-free gum, and reduced sugar condiments, will be listed as a possible carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. But what the data doesn't consider is how much of the substance you'd have to consume to be at risk. Reuters reports an average adult would have to drink up to 36 cans of the aspartame sweetened soda a day to even be at risk.
Many companies have already moved away from using large amounts of aspartame.
The Supreme Court rules in favor of a Christian website maker and against an LGBTQ customer. We'll have more on that. Plus, we'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Boyd Matheson helps you to think about the news differently.
What the American people are looking for out of all sides of politics is just give me a vision.
Join an elevated conversation. Inside Sources from 1 to 3. Then Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
Get up and go. Hey there, it's Julie from Logan with a personal invitation. Here it is. Get in your car and come see us. This weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show and Parade. Come to the Gardeners Market on Saturday, where you can even pet a live turkey. Okay, that's kind of weird. We're headed into the holiday weekend, so there's rodeo on Saturday, Logan's super impressive Independence Day fireworks July 3rd, and more fireworks and parades on the 4th of July in the towns of Hiram and Lewiston. Step back in time at the American West Heritage Center all summer long. It's outdoor living history in a gorgeous setting. You can hang out with a mountain man, meet pioneers, and even learn to milk a cow if you want. Wait, just wait. The Lyric Rep Theater is doing live performances of the 1950s and 60s musical review The Marvelous Wonderettes and a lavish big band production of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night, plus other performances of The Wizard of Oz. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
When interest rates rise, it's not all bad. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, helping you understand why now is the time to purchase an annuity. Annuities are the only products that will guarantee you an income you can't outlive. It's those guarantees that are tied to Treasury rates. And as we know, those rates are at 40-year highs. If you're in or within 10 years of retirement, use this to your advantage. This is exactly why it's possible to receive up to a 25% upfront bonus for income, and why it is possible to receive up to 10% per year for income growth. It's because of the high interest rates. Don't let anyone tell you it's not true, but also don't wait. Interest rates and these guarantees will eventually come down. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
KSL News Time, 8:09. Let's get that look at traffic and weather together here. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Back to Andy. No, it's Heather Kelly. Heather, hi.
Hi. Things are looking really good in the Salt Lake Valley. We do have construction barrels out on the 201 freeway now. This is both eastbound and westbound through Magna area. So occasionally I see a little bit of slowing, but there's really not enough traffic. It's been pretty light all morning long. No problems coming out of Tooele County on SR 36 or using I-80. And then northbound I-15 has most of your traffic, but no brake lights showing up from Point of the Mountain into downtown. Len.
They're riding into the sunrise with a great-looking traffic pattern in Davis and Weber counties, looking smooth on I-15 to Salt Lake from the Ogden area past the base and on to downtown. Just a short stretch of slowing from just after Beck Street exit through Rose Park, but now that's dissipating. It's looking pretty good otherwise. Eric Butler?
I-15 Utah County, and no problems there. From Provo and Orem up to Thanksgiving Point. We've got good movement northbound on the freeway. If you're on Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs, SR 73 looks good. If you head south towards Pioneer Crossing, then east on Pioneer, that's also in good shape, and no problems right now on 2100 north from Redwood Road over to the freeway. If you're eastbound I-80 trying to exit at 700 east, be prepared. South, you won't be able to go southbound because of lane restrictions. The two right lanes are closed on 700 east as you go underneath the freeway. UDOT traffic alert. Plan ahead for delays this July 4th weekend on Utah highways, especially I-15 in Salt Lake, Davis, and Juab counties. Allow extra time and avoid travel during the Friday evening commute. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy it today because it's your last one in the 80s. We'll go 88 degrees this afternoon, mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows, low to mid 60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow, 93, mostly sunny. Then we push it to the upper 90s on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And in Salt Lake City with the sunshine warming up again, 66 degrees.
Justice Gorsuch writes, as surely as Ms. Smith seeks to engage in protected First Amendment speech, Colorado seeks to compel speech she does not wish to provide. This is the LGBTQ case that just came down, and we'll have Greg Skordas help us flush it out coming up in a moment on KS on News Radio.
Look forward to his explanation, his feeling on all of this. 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. Thanks for riding along this morning. Tim and Amanda on KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Do you have a problem at home that you want to talk about? And I don't mean with your spouse.
Plumbing related,
I
please.
mean with your plumbing.
Yeah.
Or your HVAC. Maybe you've got, some sort of an issue that your HVAC feels like it's just straining. You may be spending more money powering that thing than you need to if you just get it tuned up and have the filter changed. Superior Water and Air can come out and do that just like that.
And the great thing about Superior Water and Air, you mentioned the simple fix of just making sure that you change that filter in a timely manner. If that's all that's wrong, you can count on this company to tell you that's it, instead of upselling you on something, which is a huge relief as a homeowner, that you're not going to get upsold on something, and what could have been a $50 fix ends up being a $500 fix.
Don't we all have a friend who had a company come out and tell them that their little problem was a $4,000 problem? That just doesn't happen with Superior Water and Air. So if anything to do with your home, whether you're thinking about water softeners or water heaters or water purifiers or air purifiers, think Superior Water and Air.
And with triple digits coming next week, you want to make sure that air conditioner is working at its peak performance. 801-974-9090. You'll also find them online at superiorwaterandair.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in Athira's clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of a Colorado website designer who refused to make a website for a gay couple based on religious beliefs.
Second, fireworks will be legal to light starting Sunday, and safety officials are reminding all of us to use caution.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
people across the Wasatch Front. No delays on I-15 east or west side belt routes. And the 201 freeway, it's just construction barrels that might hold you up from time to time on several roads. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
88, mostly sunny today. Pretty nice. Then we climb the ladder to 100 degrees. I'm Matt Johnson.
67 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Derek Dennis. A final round of Supreme Court decisions being released right now. Also in court today on Long Island, New York, embattled Congressman George Santos, indicted on 13 counts of fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. He's pleaded not guilty to the charges. The air in 23 states clogged and hazy thanks to drifting Canadian wildfire smoke heading south and east.
In Detroit, reports of a spike in doctor's visits because of respiratory issues triggered by the smoke. But there is some relief in sight. Rain and a change in the wind pattern is expected to clear the smoky air in most of the areas as we head into the weekend.
All right, let's go in depth here. The Supreme Court is releasing its final decisions before heading out for the summer recess. Just moments ago, they ruled in favor of a website designer who refused to make a website for a number of the LGBTQ community, a member rather, of the LGBTQ community based on religious beliefs.
Joining us live is KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. I guess this wasn't a surprise, Greg, but help us understand. How is this case different from the Cake Baker case a few years ago?
It's actually quite similar to Amanda, and in fact, the Supreme Court had that case before it and ruled very similarly on it. And this is based on what we call religious freedom. And you sort of have this tug and pull between the religious freedom and what some people might call discriminating against the LGBTQ communities, which both of these businesses did based on their religious beliefs. We had a case yesterday that involved religious accommodations against the post office. You'll recall we talked about that on your show, and the Supreme Court indicated that they thought the post office should have been more accommodating to a person's religious beliefs. And I think that we're sort of heading more in that direction, that religious freedoms, religious beliefs, religious accommodations are important to this court.
Let me read to you just a part of the Justice Sotomayor dissent. She says, today, the court, for the first time in its history, grants a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tim. That is to say that the court, for the first time, is saying you can discriminate. I mean, a protected class. We've decided that we can protect people based on their sexual beliefs, their sexual preferences, and that's now a protected class, just like race and religion and other things. But we have the conflict there, which is the religious beliefs of the person who's arguably discriminating. And I can understand the dissent; it really makes sense. But that's where the Supreme Court's leaning. I think it's a sort of a way to understand where they are right now.
So if you're a business owner, Greg, can you refuse to serve dinner? Let them stay in the hotel? I mean, how far does it go? Or does it have to be a creative process? But I guess, a chef could be considered creative. I'm trying to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think it's limited to the facts of the case. The cake baker who refused to bake a cake for a gay couple's wedding. In this case, it's a website designer who was saying, I don't want to have to do websites for gay couples' weddings. So, I mean, it would be hard to imagine a restaurant or some sort of business having the same issue because religious freedom wouldn't really come into play. So I hope we don't overthink this. I mean, I think the opinion is going to be disappointing to a lot of people who feel like discrimination is a big problem. But boy, religious freedoms are certainly taking a big step forward in this country with the new Supreme Court.
Well, there's a lot of people who feel like, I'm sure, that religious freedom has been under attack too. So you're going to have just as many people on the other side that are happy about this one.
Yeah.
Greg, thank you. We're still waiting on a couple of other decisions that should come shortly. We'll follow it here on KSL News Radio.
8:19 traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high yield savings certificates. And back to you, Heather.
Well, we've got a crash now out in Tooele County. This is eastbound I-80 right before you get to the 201 freeway split, and multiple vehicles are involved in this one. The good news is they're all over on the right shoulder, so both lanes are open, but traffic is a bit slow as you go past the crash coming out of Tooele County into the Salt Lake Valley. If you're in Salt Lake Valley, northbound I-15 is at speed, as it has been all morning long from Point of the Mountain into downtown, and city streets are in pretty good shape. Len.
Still looking good in Davis and Weber counties, rolling nicely on I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake in about a half an hour. And just a short stretch of slowing, it's pretty much gone now, coming out of North Salt Lake through Rose Park. Also Legacy Parkway and US 89, no delays. Eric?
Team continues to look good in Utah County. It's a 20-minute drive from Provo to Point of the Mountain. That's normal when there's no issues, and that's what we got this morning. Northbound Redwood Road looking good from Saratoga Springs up to Camp Williams and eventually onto the Porter Rockwell intersection, Bluffdale Riverton if you're going all that way. I-80 through Parley's Canyon looks good, but you've got some lane closures on 700 East. So if you're eastbound on I-80 trying to go south on 700 East, you're not going to be able to do that. You can go north. Get Mr. Max Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnson & Murphy shoes, just $595. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast, our last day of bonus weather. We'll go 88 degrees today, below normal, mostly sunny skies. Here comes high pressure, Saturday 93, mostly sunny. 97 on Sunday, again mostly sunny. Then we go triple digits, 100 the forecast high on Monday, partly cloudy skies. We back it off a touch for the 4th of July, 97, partly cloudy. 94 on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies. Mid-90s prevail into next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
67 degrees now in Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Doug Wright's last movie show coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. If you'd like to text him some love, you can do that anytime on the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line 57500.
This hour of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Durden's, and that means Todd Hall is back with us this morning.
It's so good to be here with you.
It is great to see you as well. As much as we talk about kitchens, you two were just talking about mattresses, and I think a lot of people may not know you carry mattresses.
We do. We've got a huge selection of mattresses, bigger than any national chain, and we've got a personalized rest test system so we can map your entire body pressure, show you exactly what it's going to recommend. That way you're getting something that's right for your body and your budget, and it's based on measurements, not our opinion.
Yeah. Oh, we just got a new mattress from you this week, and I'm very excited about it, Todd. And my husband was just raving about that measured his pressure points specifically so that he can get a good night's sleep, so both of us can.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and he's been tossing and turning and probably keeping everybody else up at night. You know, and we know a good night's sleep's important. We just don't. Sometimes we just sit around on something that's seen its better days a little longer than we need to.
Yeah.
If you're tossing and turning, it's time.
And I won't have to take out a second mortgage to pay for it either. I really appreciate that, Todd.
We're going to talk kitchens a little bit more, but to me, it's your people that make the difference. We often talk about being able to come in and talk to people that know appliances or know mattresses instead of a big box store. You've got some great people working for you.
We do, and we put a lot of effort into training. We've got a special day going on today and this weekend. So the great Brent Marcel, been our salesperson for 39 years.
Oh, wow.
And today's his last day. He's retiring, and we're doing an open house. He wanted to make sure that all of his customers got a chance to say hi, and he was going to give them one last good deal before he left.
Well, Brent, congratulations to you. That's really wonderful, and I hope you have a terrific day and weekend at Durden's.
Well, and 39 years on the job says a lot about the individual, but it says a lot about the company, too.
Does.
Absolutely. You know, and he said a couple weeks ago he started getting good at it. But we're going to go right in from Brent's open house into our 4th of July sale. So if you're considering a remodel, an upgrade, or you're just not getting that good night's sleep you want, we've got some great deals and some great rebates for you.
Tell them where to find you.
We're at 5th South and Bountiful. Brands you know it, prices you'll love.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A bottle of Sriracha used to cost under $10. Now, thanks to a shortage of red jalapeno peppers, a single 28-ounce bottle of the hot sauce is being sold on eBay for $70.
Well, that's what somebody wants for it. I'm questioning whether anybody will pay $70
That just
for it.
sounds crazy to me.
Somebody's hoping to make that kind of money. That is nuts. If you've been on the internet at all, you'll know that Taylor Swift is on tour. It's predicted it'll be the biggest tour in history. The record to this point has been held by Elton John's Yellow Brick Road Tour, which made $800 million. Taylor might pass the $1 billion mark.
She's just magic.
Yeah.
A California man has developed a new telemarketer call deflection system called Jolly Roger. For $25 a year, customers can choose an AI personality to specifically frustrate and waste the time of telemarketers and scammers.
I've got a buddy that actually considers himself one of the best at wasting the time of people that are wasting
and he
his
enjoys
time.
doing that.
Yeah. The Dow Jones Industrials are up 251 points after a big day yesterday. That's 0.75 of a point. The S&P is up 49. The NASDAQ up 1.5% right now. It's on the plus side by 210.
We have an eastbound crash coming out of Tooele County causing some slowdowns on I-80. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Summer celebrations are almost here.
You can light off your own fireworks until 11 p.m. on the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, midnight on the 4th.
And the fireworks stands are open.
Even if it's green, it can still burn.
Don't burn down Utah. And come here for updates on safety and restrictions. KSL News Radio, your summertime fun companion for news.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air, in a public place, in front of your kids, and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using STEM mosquito repellent is the right way. STEM effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Managing today's uncertainty can be overwhelming. We crave security, and it's uncomfortable when we sense a lack of control over our lives. Develop a routine for a more balanced lifestyle with healthy habits and fun. Focus on what you can control, even if it's little things, like a before-bedtime ritual.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
8:29 means traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, if you're in the Salt Lake Valley, you don't have any problems right now on the major roadways, or most of the city streets for that matter. Northbound I-15 is about a 22-minute drive as you head from Point of the Mountain into downtown Salt Lake. The big issue is out in Tooele County. It's not that huge, but we do have multiple vehicles that were involved in a crash eastbound I-80 right near just before you get to the turnoff to the 201 freeway. They're all over on the right shoulder, but traffic is slowing down to get around it. Len.
Coming around the bend in Clearfield at the base, no problems there, no delays even at the south entrance. Also looking good on Highway 89 between Farmington and South Weber. I-15 itself is sailing along, just a very small stretch of slowing through Roy, but that's northbound. Otherwise, southbound 15 through Kaysville and Farmington on down to the downtown ramps. Also, you're looking good on the north end of the I-215 exchange up there toward Salt Lake, North Salt Lake. Eric?
The major feeders in Utah County took over to the freeway looking good from Highway 6 and Spanish Fork all the way up to Timpanogos Highway. Everything in between, really no delays. I-15 northbound in the county, that's in good shape. And southbound too. Now, if you continue south into Juab County and you've got to stop in Nephi, traffic trooper tells us you better take that first exit. There's 3 exits in Nephi. Take the first one because the next 2 are shut off. And if you go past that, then you're going to have to go quite a ways down the road, maybe 20 miles before you can turn around and come back. So take the first exit in Nephi if you got business down there this morning. It's the summer tour sales event at Murdoch Chevrolet. Take up to $6,000 off or 1.9% for 3 years on select Silverados. Murdoch Chevrolet in Logan, Woods Cross, or online at murdochchev.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a beautiful day today. Our last day in the 80s for a while, our high 88. We'll get up to 100 by Monday, and right now it's 67 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
The Supreme Court has issued some final decisions before their summer recess.
Joining us live in studio is the host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson. Talk to us, Boyd, about this religious liberty decision.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that we're missing this morning is that this case is not a religious liberty decision. Oh, really? Justice Gorsuch was very clear to say that this is a free speech issue because it is the coercion of speech that is really at issue. So the court did not take this up on religious liberty grounds. Oh, wow. It's a free speech. It's an expression issue. And so a little different. It's easy to get caught in the fact that it's a Christian designer who doesn't want to do an LGBTQ for religious reasons. But it is not the decision is not based on religious liberty.
Interesting.
It's free speech, and that reason that you cannot coerce expression. And so that's the real bottom line there.
Yesterday it was affirmative action, which has stood for a long, long time. It does show a direction by this court, does it not, when it comes to these kinds of decisions?
Really interesting. So yesterday there was another decision on a postal worker who wanted to have Sunday off for religious reasons, and the court ruled 9-0. And so sometimes we look at these that are the 6-4 or 6-3 5-4 decisions as kind of the direction of things. But I thought it was very interesting yesterday. Most people kind of missed that under the radar that it was 9-0 on a religious liberty case because everyone agreed in terms of the accommodation component to that. So yeah, some of it is directional for sure, Tim. But I think there's also a lot to be said in terms of how the court continues to approach its work.
What do you make of Sotomayor's dissent when she talks about how, for the first time in the court's history, a protected class is not protected in essence?
Yeah, it's interesting. So if you go through both her dissent and also the majority opinion by Justice Gorsuch, it's an interesting back and forth because in anything that is pre-packaged or pre-done, going into a restaurant, going into a grocery store, of course you cannot discriminate on race or gender or sexual orientation or any of those things. But when it comes to something that is an expression, again, you cannot coerce. It would be like going into a Jewish baker and saying you need to create a cake that has a Nazi emblem on it. Or if you're black, you have to design a website for the KKK. It would be that expression that is really what's under. And so I think you're going to see that continue to go back and forth between Sotomayor and Gorsuch in terms of what's the real issue here in terms of expression and free speech, not just the religious component.
I know you talked a little about this yesterday, but the president had a parting shot as he was making his way out of the room after his comments yesterday where he said this is not a normal court.
Yeah, and that's suboptimal at best and very unpresidential. And I don't care whether you love the president or hate the president or anything in between. That's not appropriate for any president to be undermining the legitimacy of the court. Remember, everything we do in this country is based on the trust in the institution. And so it's up to everybody, regardless of political party or affiliation or what position you have, reinforcing that trust. We cannot stress test this country and our institutions in the absence of trust. And that starts with the president, and then it comes down to each one of us as well.
Today is Doug Wright's last movie show, but he's already done his last Sunday edition. And you, Boyd Matheson, are taking over the Sunday edition show.
We are, and we're getting off to a fast start Sunday morning, 9 a.m. And our first guest will actually be former ambassador to Russia, John Huntsman. Wow. So we're digging into what's happening inside of Russia, the inner workings there. We also have a fascinating Jonathan Rauch from the Brookings Institution, who is an atheist, who actually makes a very compelling case for why religion is necessary in a democracy.
Oh,
so
that's
fascinating
interesting.
conversation.
We'll look forward to that. What time is it on
9
Sunday?
a.m. every Sunday morning.
All right. Just like you needed anything else to do, Boyd.
One more chance to have a great conversation with amazing people.
Thanks for squeezing us in this morning. By the way, the first student loan case, the Department of Education versus Brown, just came in. We haven't had a chance to read it, but let's check traffic and weather together, and we'll sort that out for you coming up next. It's First Look Traffic with Heather Kelly.
And things are moving along pretty well if you're in the Salt Lake Valley, but out in Chula County, we've got a multi-vehicle crash eastbound I-80 just before you get to the 201 freeway split. The right lane and shoulder are blocked, so everybody's going by on the left lane, and it's causing delays. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
So we're reading here from the decision that just came down, and the court finds that that they did not have standing to bring this case because respondents failed to establish any injury they suffer from not having their loans forgiven. They lack Article 3 standing, so the court has no jurisdiction to address their procedural claim.
And which state was that? Was that because there's a couple of them out there, because I'm reading, and we apologize, but this is kind of rolling in as we speak. Boyd is still here. The court does hold that Missouri, at the very least, has standing. That must be the other case that they were talking about.
I didn't realize there was more than one.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
2 cases. Thank you for that.
And in that one, the vote is 6-3. Kagan dissents, joined by Sotomayor and Jackson. The court agrees with the states that the HEROES Act does not authorize the debt forgiveness plan. So there's the first indication of how that one will go. But in the first student loan case, they said there was no standing. In the second case, the Missouri case, there is standing.
So how do they interplay? That's confusing to me.
Yeah, Boyd, do you know more about how these two cases intersect?
Yeah, so they're really just going to separate them out by saying in the one case there is no standing because there was no harm or injury done for that, so they're tossing that one. But it looks like they are going to rule on the other case, the Missouri case, where there appears to be standing.
And they strike down the plan.
They strike that down.
So for all intents and purposes, what matters is they struck down the plan.
Yeah, because if they say that Missouri had standing and it's a student loan case, it's going to affect what's going on in the other state
anyway.
Think
so,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot to sort out here, and we're going to attempt to do that for you over the next few minutes, but we need to take a break. We'll check your traffic and weather together when we come back.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Playing KSL News Radio.
New trouble for Amazon. Everything near the parks is turned into an Airbnb.
In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
And now here's Growing Your Wealth, presented by Madrona Financial Services. Here's Brian Evans.
Today I want to talk about financial planning as it relates to our legacy. Now, certainly doing a financial plan for a lifetime is extremely important. Not only can it tell us when we can retire, what that retirement might look like, what our cash flow might be, our assets, how much cushion we have, and so forth. But part of that it also involves, for many of my clients, they want to know what their legacy looks like. They want to know what might be left to the kids, whether it's in trust or directly inherited by the children someday, or grandkids for education purposes or other legacy purposes, or to their charities. So those are the 3 main areas people want to know about. So part of that financial plan involves calculating all of that. A good financial plan does need to calculate a lot of things. I've seen many people do their financial plan and they brought it in, it's on a spreadsheet, and it really doesn't take into account maybe inflation or changes in tax law, increasing rates, increases to expenses for Medicare supplement in retirement, inflation, earnings properly, those kinds of things. So garbage in, garbage out, we got to get the right data in there. But certainly on the flip side, our legacy plan is really important to a lot of people. You know, they have to know that they're not spending too little. A lot of people might reserve their spending because they think there's not going to be enough left behind. And sometimes doing a plan, we can show them that there's going to be plenty for the purposes they want left behind, so they can spend a little more freely during their lifetime. So when you do a financial plan, it's not just your cash flow and balance sheet we're looking at. Also think about your legacy and what you want that to look like upon your passing.
Even the mightiest of trees can be blown over if they don't have strong enough roots. The same is true with your investment plan. Can your plan withstand a financial storm? Go to MadronaFinancial.com and click on the Get Started button to request your Rooted Wealth Analysis. You can also click on the chat button and ask us anything. We have a searchable library with answers to your questions. Visit MadronaFinancial.com.
All right, so here's the cliff notes of what's come out of the Supreme Court, because there's a lot to digest here. That the court has struck down the Biden administration debt forgiveness program, one of a couple of different cases they had set before them.
They basically are saying that the president exceeded his authority, that he needed more congressional authorization to spend that kind of money. He didn't have it under the HEROES Act, and so that's why they struck it down.
So reining in presidential powers a bit here. We'll continue to follow it, of course, on KSL.
8:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Heather.
Well, you're going to have to add about 5 extra minutes on your commute coming out of Tooele County this morning. This is due to a crash eastbound I-80 just before you get to the 201 freeway interchange. The right lane and shoulder are blocked with emergency crews, but several of the vehicles involved in that crash have pulled away, so hopefully that'll all be cleaned up in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Once you get into the Salt Lake Valley, no problems right now on the 201 freeway or northbound I-15. Len.
On your way by Great Salt Lake and a delay-free ride out of Ogden and on to Farmington and into Salt Lake City. On West Hillfield Road, a little bit busy from Layton toward the south entrance to Hillfield. Otherwise, I-84 is looking great from South Weber over to Mountain Green. Eric?
Got a little bit of congestion going in and coming out of Heber City this morning on the Wasatch Back. Coming in, it's on 189. Coming out, it's northbound on Main Street as you head to the edge of town and up towards the River Road intersection. US 40, the rest of the way, all the way to I-80 looks good, but you do have some slowing into Park City on Kearns Boulevard this morning if you're exiting US 40 and going west on 248. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We close out the month of June today at 88 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows, low to mid 60s, mostly clear. Tomorrow, how about a high of 93, mostly sunny, high pressure still building. We'll go 97 on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in Salt Lake City, it is 67 degrees downtown.
We're talking BYU football and a big event this weekend with Mitch Harper just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. And thanks for waking up with Tim and Amanda from your all-day companion for news. It's an hour brought to you by Durden's, and Todd Hall is back with us today. You hinted as we wrapped up our last conversation, you've got 4th of July specials coming up.
Absolutely. And, we're going into a wonderful 4-day weekend. If you've got a little time on your hands, you're looking to upgrade your appliances, your mattress, or your whole kitchen, we've got some great savings for you.
Tell us about those, Todd.
Okay, so, you're never going to have to guess what you're going to want. You're going to try it out in one of the 10 live kitchens, and then you're going to see some great rebates. GE's offering up to $2,500 rebates on GE Cafe, GE Profile, up to $4,000 in rebates in Monogram. Sub-Zero Wolf, our flagship luxury brand's offering up to $2,500 in rebates as well. And this is in addition to paying some of the lowest prices we've seen all year.
You list those brands. I mean, these are the best of the best, and you made a decision long ago that that's all you were going to sell.
Yes, we want to sell everything at every price point, but we only want the best in each category. It's not like we're a corporation that's got a line card. If we don't like it, we don't carry it.
I know your live kitchens have always been popular, but you've just redone when did you finish redoing that showroom? It's beautiful.
We added a couple live kitchens and, for some different brands. And so really any brand, any price point that you want, you're going to get to try it before you buy it and see how it's going to look in real cabinets. Now it's going to cook your dinner.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. We've been invited to come up, but we just haven't found a time where you can cook us lunch or dinner up there.
I want to see it.
We're going to look forward to it. You carry so much more. We mentioned mattresses a minute ago, and you've got great deals on mattresses right now, too.
Absolutely, and we're doing a 50% sale on Serta Perfect Sleepers, which is a really common brand. We're going to find something using a rest test that's right for your body and your budget.
So where are you located, Tom?
We're at 5th South and Bountiful. Brands you know it, prices you'll love.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take? I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio. When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
KSL News Time, 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First, the Supreme Court has struck down President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, saying the HEROES Act does not give the White House that authority.
Second, the Supreme Court also ruled in favor of a website designer in Colorado who refused to make a website for a gay couple based off of the business owner's religious beliefs.
More on that coming up with ABC, but third, let's check your traffic and weather together.
Our biggest delays are coming out of Twilla County on eastbound I-80 between Lake Point and the 201 freeway. That's due to a crash still over on the right shoulder, but both lanes are now open. No other real problems aside from some orange barrels wherever you're going. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy your last day of the 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 67 degrees.
With KSL's top national stories.
The Supreme Court just out with a major ruling on LGBTQ rights, answering the question of whether a business can refuse service to certain individuals because of their sexual or gender identity.
In a 6-3 opinion written by Justice Gorsuch, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with a business that designs wedding websites. Lori Smith believes marriage is reserved for unions between one man and one woman and said she worried the state of Colorado would force her to create websites for same-sex couples. The opinion said the government may not compel a person to speak its own preferred messages. In dissent, Justice Sotomayor said this is the first time in history the Supreme Court has granted a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Well, we have a little more than 15 hours now from BYU officially becoming a member of the Big 12 Conference.
Joining us live is our BYU insider and co-host of Cougar Sports Saturday, Mitch Harper. What's going on this weekend, Mitch?
Oh, a lot of excitement. I'll tell you, Amanda, BYU is, kind of rolling out, I guess, the blue carpet for this Big 12. They've got, a fan fest coming up tomorrow from 3 to 6. I mean, we're going to have Cougar Sports Saturday down at Warehouse B in Linden from noon to 3. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, you think about when Lavelle Edwards took over the program back in 72. Over the last 50 years, BYU has been building to this moment. This is what they've been dreaming of, and it's going to become a reality coming up tonight at midnight.
Yeah, we're looking forward to your coverage of everything that's going on tomorrow. But talk to me about how this the readiness for the program is right now for this big step.
That's a great question, because I think that all this is so new to BYU. I mean, they've always been the big fish in a small pond. When they were in the Mountain West, the WAC, even, Independence and West Coast Conference, they were always the biggest brand in a very small pond. Now, BYU is just the fish. Like, they are trying to prove themselves in this, these big waters that they've never experienced. I think that football-wise, BYU has put their roster in a place where they could surprise people. And surprise might simply just be qualifying for a bowl game, getting that 6-6 mark, maybe 7 wins. That would be a solid, I think, first start in year one of the Big 12. And I think they've done enough, Kalani Sitake and his staff, to have the personnel necessary to achieve that in their first year.
I mean, it's not just BYU too, Mitch. They're part of a new class of the Big 12.
They are, and they're going to be joining with the Big 12 with the University of Central Florida, University of Cincinnati, and the University of Houston. All those teams are coming from the American Athletic Conference, and each of them have had their moments of success where they were winning New Year's Six bowl games. They were, having undefeated seasons. And so all of these 4 teams, and I think that what the common theme with this new Big 12 is that there's just kind of this new energy. And I think even the leftover 8 programs beyond Texas and Oklahoma, having the Longhorns and Sooners gone, those teams are excited to reinvent themselves and become something bigger than they've ever been before. So there's just kind of this new energy and uncertainty about how the power structure is going to look in this new conference. And I think that's what lends itself to so much maybe optimism and belief that, hey, BYU can maybe step in and be a factor from the get-go potentially. And it's going to take a lot of work, but I think that's what makes this new conference so exciting and just a huge stage for BYU.
Well, the commissioner certainly understands what getting BYU there means. It means having a built-in fan base just about anywhere they go.
That is true. I mean, BYU is. I expect this first year. Tickets for here at home games have been a hot commodity for both football and men's basketball, and I would expect road games are going to be some big numbers. I mean, you go look across some of these venues. There's places where BYU's never been. Kansas Jayhawks, West Virginia. These are games. They're all in the Central and Eastern time zones. Different. Not many Mountain or Pacific time zone games. In fact, there's none outside of the games at home. So it's a new look. It's a different type of schedule than BYU's ever seen before, and I think that Cougar fans seem to be pretty excited at the chance to kind of experience this history.
Where are you going to be tomorrow, Mitch?
Warehouse B in Linden. So I'll be down there with Matt Baiamonte, and we'll get you ready for kind of this big fan fest down in Provo and all the festivities going on with BYU becoming officially a member of the Big 12.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. We'll be listening for sure. And this countdown to Cougar football is brought to you by Bish's RV. Family owned for 30 years, Bish's RV has always helped RVers go play. Shop locally or bishes.com today.
8:49. Time for that look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates, and Heather's back in the traffic center.
We still have a little bit of slowing and delay eastbound I-80 as you hook on to I-80 from SR-36 in Lake Point and head over toward the 201 freeway. That's due to a crash still in the cleanup stages, but it is over on the right shoulder. Now, once you get onto the 201 freeway, even though we have construction barrels through Magna, there's no slowdowns there. Northbound I-15, a few brake lights from time to time as you approach South Salt Lake. Len.
We're roaring out of Ogden and points north of here on I-15 to Kaysville and Farmington and beyond into downtown Salt Lake City. Legacy Parkway is wide open, and in the north end of the west belt of I-215, making it around the curve from the north interchange to I-80 in good shape. Eric?
I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound. That's looking just fine this morning. But if you're southbound through the county and heading down into Juab County, and your intent is to stop in Nephi because you got something going on there, take that first exit. There's 3 exits down there, but take the first one because the next 2 are blocked off. If you miss that first exit, you're going to go a long ways if you can turn around and reverse your course of action. I-80 through the mountains, that's looking good this morning. Parley's Canyon is a clean drive as you go from the mouth of the canyon to the Kimball Junction exit. Enjoy low-maintenance, single-level luxury living planned community. Access to golf, pickleball, and open trails. Nilson Homes in Davis-Weber County. Visit NILSONhomes.com. NilsonHomes.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Upper 80s today. We stay below normal, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, just some high clouds possible, 93. 97 on Sunday, mostly sunny. Partly cloudy skies, and our first triple digit of the season, potentially on Monday. Tuesday, 4th of July, 97, partly cloudy. Could be breezy by afternoon. Wednesday, mostly sunny, 94. We keep it in the mid-90s for next Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, sunshine at 69 downtown. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Markets are rallying. We'll give you those numbers next.
Hi, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Are you suffering from excruciating headaches, anxiety, and insomnia? You may be suffering from CMS, crappy monitor syndrome. That old computer screen from years ago could be the problem, exposing you to massive amounts of radiation frying your brain. At PC Laptops, we only carry screens that we've tested on our own eyeballs. Right now, purchase any PC Laptops desktop with an external monitor and get a free size upgrade. That's right. For example, if you buy a 22-inch monitor, you get an upgrade to 24 inches for no extra charge. Buy a 24, get an upgrade to a 27-inch monitor for free. We have brand new PC Laptops desktop computers starting from $11.99 or $29 a month, backed by a lifetime warranty. And to make it extra sweet, we're doing 0 interest for a year on approved credit. So run into any one of our PC Laptops locations right now or check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Because at PC Laptops, we love you.
Troy, I want to spoil the crud out of our amazing customers during Bish's RV Customer Appreciation Month.
Oh, I'm with you. We're throwing the biggest customer appreciation sale in our history.
Okay, this should be good.
For starters, employee pricing is back on select RVs. Go to Bish's.com and click the Get Lowest Price button.
Stop! Cut the music.
What the heck?
You're leading with employee pricing? You gotta save your best for last, not first.
Can I just get back to the sale?
Just saying. Hit it, guys.
On top of employee pricing on select RVs, we're giving you 90 days no payments for all play and no pay OAC.
That's good too.
And no reasonable offer will be refused on remaining 2022s.
Whoa.
Plus, we'll trade anything. Just ask.
Cut the music.
What now?
Sorry, just feeling a little power hungry.
Is that it?
Yep, you're doing great. Hit it, guys.
Get employee pricing, 90 days no payments OAC, amazing trade value, and more during Customer Appreciation Month at Bish's RV in North Salt Lake and our new location in American Fork. Bish's RV, where memories begin.
Watching Utah's Money is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The gown worn by Princess Leia in Star Wars was up for auction recently. The company that ran the auction hoped to get $1 million for it, but weren't able to seal the deal. Nobody wanted to give that kind of money. We're told you can still make a private offer if you'd like to.
This story just freaks me out. A handbag, and I like handbags, don't get me wrong. I'd like to have a collection myself. But it was designed so small that it can pass through the eye of a needle. It is viewable only by microscope. It's a teeny-weeny little yellow dot of a thing. The handbag is smaller than a grain of salt. It's sold for $63,000.
Yeah, that's not the asking price. That's what somebody paid for the silly
And there's
thing.
no wallet inside. I mean, it's just the handbag.
And my wife loves handbags, too. The markets right now continue to have a great day. The Dow is up 216 points. The S&P is up 47, which is more than 1%. The NASDAQ is up 1.5%, or 200 this hour.
We do have an accident about a mile past Lake Point. It has eastbound traffic slowing down a little bit on I-80. We'll check that on the rest of your commute just ahead.
This hour of Utah's Morning News brought to you by Durden's. Todd Hall is back with us one more time to talk about these great deals you've got going into an extended weekend for everybody.
You know, we've got a 4-day weekend coming up, and if you've got some time to upgrade your kitchen and get some great deals, we'd love to see you.
I love my new kitchen I got from you guys. I don't know, it's been over a year ago now. And this stove, first of all, I didn't want to have a gas stove anymore, and I've ready